get you a sports badge. You're doing on-camera stuff today, aren't you?
On-camera stuff?
You'll be doing on-camera, yep. I just got to get a sports badge for your mic.
Oh yeah, for the mic, yep.
Collingwood defeated North by 43 points and St Kilda defeated Port by 65 points, so ending a 4-game winning streak. Port start the day in 7th position. Let me go to the ladder.
He was a technical trade, you know. What were you like on the blackboard?
Cal, can you talk to Terry, please?
What?
No, Terry downstairs.
Ah.
All right, not long, guys. No.
Terry.
Around Australia, welcome to Optus Oval for more action from round 8 in the... is that all right, Serge?
Oh, we've got no flashing lights yet.
Yes, we have.
Yes, mate. Yep. Yep. Got you there, Don. Yep.
Yes, Don, thank you. Adam, is it?
Johnny, just
Oh,
a reminder that
Terry.
we need computer support up here as well.
Ah, Terry. How are you? Terry. Saturday football, North Melbourne versus Port Adelaide.
Someone
you,
is
mate.
travelling.
Sam.
Yes, around Australia, welcome along to Optus Oval for more action from round 8 in the AFL competition. Today it's North Melbourne against Port Adelaide, the reigning premiers up against the new boys on the block. Both these sides coming off losses last week. We saw Collingwood defeat North Melbourne by 43 points, the Saints over Port to the tune of 65. That ended a 4-game winning streak, so as a result, Port start the day in 7th position. North at 10th. And after last night, there's Port on the ground. Collingwood are back on top of the table. Very tight on the ladder. Only 2 games separate 2nd from 14th. Port Adelaide travelling today, a big responsibility for them after that string of wins. And of course, plenty of football still to come. We had the Friday night game last night. And today it's Melbourne against Geelong at the MCG. Tonight, Adelaide go against Sydney. That game at Football Park. 3 games tomorrow. Fremantle and Brisbane. Essendon, St Kilda, Carlton and Hawthorn, important game. And then on Monday, the Tigers against the West Coast Eagles, a night match at the MCG, a feast of football. And of course, the West Coast Eagles with a chance to go back on top.
1997 AFL Premiership season. Proudly brought to you by Victoria Better, for a hard-earned thirst. Telstra, making life easier. Qantas, the Australian airline. And McDonald's.
Joined now by Terry Wheeler. And Terry, the reigning premiers didn't look to flash last round against Collingwood.
No, they didn't, Dennis, and Wayne Carey is still another month away, so there's much to be done by North Melbourne. The season can very quickly slip away from them. Up forward, they don't look as sharp at all, and they're averaging 4 goals less than they have in previous years under Denis Pagan, and therein lies Wayne Carey's contribution, doesn't it? And
well, even against Collingwood, they had plenty of the ball, didn't convert.
Yeah, their midfield hasn't been as direct as it has been in the past, and they're really looking for something up forward. And this week they've brought in number 48 there on the screen, Julian Kirzners. He played a game in late 1994 with Essendon. Since then has just been round through Carlton reserves and through the amateur section in the VFA here in Melbourne. He's one they'll look forward to.
North Melbourne on the ground then, following Port Adelaide out. Port, well, their 3rd trip to Melbourne as yet. No wins here, so the old bogey about a team travelling.
It makes it tough, doesn't it? And last week against St Kilda, Stan Alves really gave them the respect that Port Adelaide have deserved and really did homework on them. They haven't really been able to show that great running and attacking style of play that they have had over the last 5 weeks in Football Park in Adelaide. This is a real test here for them today, particularly when we consider that Scotty Cummings, their leading goal scorer, is not in the side, so much will be left towards a Brewer and young Lockwood, who I think will play up front for them.
Exciting prospects then. We're set to go North Melbourne, Port Power, that right after this.
we get it.
Well, it's a perfect day. A little overcast, gentle breeze. Should make for a good game of football as we check the umpires this afternoon. Number 6, Andrew Coates, and working with him, number 9, a veteran, Brian Sheehan. And number 37, Sam Cronje. So a pair of accountants along with Brian Sheehan, a veteran at 38, 5 grand finals. And Port out pretty early. Matt Campbell is down on the boundary. Good afternoon, Matty.
Good afternoon, Dennis. It is a beautiful day down here in the boundary. The sun trying to poke through for the first time today, and I guess Port Adelaide will be trying to do likewise for their first win away from Adelaide. And it's their first time to Optus Oval as well, Dennis, so it's a bit different for them. They've played all their games on larger grounds. So with the Cummings out, I don't know whether they're going to be able to kick enough goals to win today. So that remains to be seen. And also, just fellas, Jack Cale has a habit of coming down at about 3 or 4 minutes to go of each quarter and sitting on the bench. Of course, here at Optus Oval, he can't do that. So he'll have to try and run across the ground or do something. So a bit different for Jack as well. But for me, North Melbourne to win because I think they'll kick more goals.
Here's the toss of the coin. As we say good afternoon too to Peter McKenna.
Good afternoon, Dennis. Good afternoon to you too, Terry.
Who do you like, Pete?
Well, I like North Melbourne. I would hate to play against North Melbourne on the rebound. I've been very impressed with Port Adelaide this year. I've seen them a number of times, even in a couple of their defeats. They've been very competitive. They really have a red-hot go and rip into the packs. There's John Cale, a magnificent player in South Australia for many years, former Collingwood coach, of course, and well, an outstanding AFL coach. Their players have been good. The player that's really impressed me is in the ruck, Brendan Lay.
Lay's been very good, hasn't he, right throughout. He's taken on some very good players. A fortnight ago at Football Park against the Richmond contingency, admittedly without Justin Charles, but he did very well. Denis Pagan with Normie Dare to his right. Graham Dawson behind, and there's Wayne Carey. What he wouldn't give to have the next month pass so very, very quickly and get himself back out there.
Led the league with 200 marks last season. You take those out, of course, it does hurt. Interchange players coming off for Port. Carter and James together. Freeborn and Anderson coming off for North. There's Mark Roberts making up the trio.
One player Port Adelaide has missed terribly has been Fabian Francis. Dennis, an outstanding player.
Brian Sheehan. Set to go then. Port Power running right to left. Young Lockwood tangling with Martin Pike. Pike having a very good season, so too Lockwood. Still they go. Meantime, it's been bounced. Centre square infringement, and the Power will get the free. So Primus starting on the ball, not unexpectedly, with Lade on the forward line. Primus down towards half forward. Lade is the target. In from the side, it's knocked forward by Scott, taken by Rock, who boots it up towards the wing. Archer leads in the race, close to the boundary line, can't keep it in. The boundary throw in, Glenn Archer. Tough man, one of the keys. We've talked about the weather, mainly fine, maybe light rain. Doesn't look that way at the moment, that's good news. And close to that expected maximum. A lot of wrestling there. Primus got in front, so you'd expect he would get the free, and he does. So a good start for him. Talking about Brendan Lade before. Primus started very well this season, but lost the in-house war. Lade took his spot. There's Bond kicking it down towards half forward. Over the top, Schwass finding the ball on the ground. Pike. Back to Pike. Nicely worked with Stevens. He kicks it down towards half forward. Loose ball about 60 metres out from North's goal. Bond once more. Nicely done to Brown. Lyle pops it down towards half forward. Too much carry there for Eagleton. Coming away is King. Allison, other side wing with plenty of time. Goes down towards half-forward, finds Scholl.
Excellent play by North. And Craig Scholl, who is a noted goal kicker, in towards the full forward zone. Over the back, a chance for North Melbourne as they try and crash it through the packs. Good play by Pike to pick it up and bring it back for a top goal. Excellent play by Martin Pike to come down from the half-back line.
It certainly was, and he's really put the pressure on his direct opponent, young Bowen Lockwood. Pike being very aggressive in the one-on-one first up match against young Lockwood, and this will be quite a game for him. But here Pike able to come on down the ground as North Melbourne with a very good run of the ball through Allison down the outer wing. Pike kept coming down through the centre corridor. The contest was there, kept coming, and he's been able to really put the pressure right on Port Adelaide early.
There's the bounce back in the middle. Primus knocks it down. Brown emerges with it. Kicks inside the 50. Martin knocks it down to the goal kicker. Pike deep back in defence now. Eagleton a chance. Well picked up by Burgoyne. 35 metres out. And he's missed.
Very clever player, Peter Burgoyne. There he is, number 26. And he is going to be an outstanding player. He just looks so young out there. 5 points down they are, Port.
And Anthony Stevens has the job with Gavin Wanganeen, and Anthony Rock and David Brown pitted in the midfield.
David King to bring it back in towards McKernan. This is Lade. Is that holding the ball? Umpire gives him the benefit, and they'll come in and bounce it.
I don't mind seeing John Longmire at centre half back. The straight ahead style of play does suit him, and with Julian Kirzners coming in, starting the game at full forward, a young player has allowed Longmire to drop back and take Poole.
Port Adelaide's half-forward line. Talk about Poole. That's Poole getting it out to Dickey. Dickey bends it back. Good talking there by the Port Adelaide players. This is Brown creating the loose man, and the mark has been taken by Eagleton. Now he plays on to Wanganeen. Is that a free kick? No. Umpire is very flamboyant. He's trying to claim he was caught high, Gavin Wanganeen, speaking to the umpire.
Well, Gavin always in amongst the physical stuff, isn't it? And last week he was involved in some heavy physical clashes.
Well, Poole using his strength. Well, he certainly is that. Too high, said the umpire. There'll be a free kick to Anthony Stevens. I know it's Chandler who gave it off to King.
Longmire, forward of half-back. Drives North down towards their half-forward line. Over the top, Kingsley forced it forward. Trying to crash his way through was Harvey. To Archer. Schwass now somehow got away. Well played. He's on the wing. Goes in short to Rock. Rock about 75 metres out. Chips inside the 50. Harvey takes them on. Gets the hand pass to Allison. Loves this situation. Gets the goal.
Well, there's the run that North Melbourne really been looking for. They've struggled so far throughout this year. Just the 3 wins from their 7 games. Their goal-scoring power hasn't been there. It has in the previous years under Denis Pagan. And only 2 players have kicked more than 10 goals. Mellington and this man now, Allison. Allison's pace through the midfield, his ability to finish off, really are a danger for Port Adelaide.
North by 11 points. Goals kicked by Pike and, of course, then by Brett Allison. Now, this is Franco on the left foot, bending it back to Lockwood. That's good play. What Port need is a couple of quick goals. I think they're the travelling side. Give them a bit of confidence. Here's Poole. Oh, free kick to Poole. No, against Poole to McMartin.
John Cale has swapped over Poole. He's now at full forward. And Lade has come out to play centre half forward on Longmire.
Here's McKernan at half back. He's off. Yes, the umpire calling play on as McKernan tries to bend it back. Oh, Dickey gets a terrible bounce. That was Wanganeen. Well played. Oh, Dickey was tripped. Now, was that intentional or not? But it's
yes, it is. And he's going back to 50 metres.
And that's an intentional trip, 50-metre penalty. Donald Dickey will have a kick for goal from about 30 metres.
I think this has been a very good introduction to the rules of the game. This deliberate tripping by hand, some years ago, it really did get out of hand. And no pun intended there at all. And the 50-metre penalty really has tightened that up. And Scott there incurring the wrath.
So Donald Dickey, the kick for goal for Port's first. He bends it in straight through the middle. So this talented wingman has kicked Port's first, and just what the doctor ordered.
No doubt about that. North Melbourne get away with the quick jump with the 2 goals, but in the essence of the last couple of minutes, Port Adelaide have been very hard at the ball in their forward line. There really isn't much space. North Melbourne are able to get back and clog it up with numbers, and then as a result of the infringement from Scott and the 50-metre penalty, they're able to get their first goal.
Got to say too, plenty of support for Port Power here this afternoon, surprisingly. Knocked down by Primus. Brewer having a good season, too slick. Franco couldn't hang on. As a result, Rock comes away. Kicks down towards half forward. Archer up in front. Juggled attempt. Follows the ball on. He's 55 metres out. Good pressure from Wilson. Affected the kick. Kingsley had it a long time. Harvey. And we'll have a ball up about 30 metres out from North's attacking goal. Mellington at the bottom of that pile. The early going. North in front. Scholl taps it down brilliantly. Bell snaps. How will it bounce? Mellington got a hand to it. Longmire. Archer. A throw.
Yes, good umpiring. There's Wilson trying to run away with it, but the umpire's bringing it back. Now that's Adam Huskus. He's had his head shaved during the week. In case you didn't recognise him, he drives it to centre wing. McKernan back with a flight of the ball. Well played by Primus, used his body very well, and then dodges around. Well done. Long kick to half forward, but John Longmire races back to take a safe mark.
That'll be a very good match up in the midfield. Primus is quite athletic for a man his size.
Now he gives it off to that tough little battler, Anthony Stevens, who kicks it to half forward. Scholl versus Mead. Mead's taken them all on and beaten them this year. That was Archer. It's not further afield towards Bell and David Brown. This is David Brown. Oh, he's given it to Pike. Pike will race into goal. And, oh, good safe mark by Steve Paxman in defence.
That was a beauty. Hard one to mark too. Took it so cleanly. Gets it out to Wanganeen. Roundly booed. Don't know why. Gets it to Bond. The defensive side of the wing. Half smothered was the kick, and as a result it ricochets off the hands of Stevens and goes out of bounds. Well played by Anthony Stevens. There's Shane Bond. North by 5 points. Boundary thrown out his side. Primus doing very well so far in this battle. They find a draw there. Wanganeen breaks away. Centering kick just wide of Brewer. Well controlled by Burgoyne. Run down from behind by Blakey. Brewer comes again. Scott got him. Bell, the meat and the sandwich. Bell.
That was good umpiring.
Very good umpiring. This will be the test for Port Adelaide, whether they can absorb all the physical punishment that North Melbourne are going to put on them early in the game. We look at Peter Burgoyne there, very slight when compared against his more experienced North Melbourne counterparts. So their ability to be able to take everything that North throw at them in this opening quarter is very, very important to the outcome and also to their development as footballers.
Well, that was great umpiring by the young umpire, Sam Cronje. He didn't play the ticky touch with free kicker. We'll see Wanganeen go forward to the half-forward line. Out comes Big Poole. King, oh, good play by Darryl Poole. Hand pass off to Brown was fantastic football. And Brown's kicked the goal. Great play by Poole. So Port doing all right. There's the big fellow, Terry.
And hasn't he been impressive at centre-half forward throughout the whole season? You know, he's some 25 years of age already and overlooked by a number of clubs in his development year, but wanted to stay with Port. And here's just his solid body work at centre-half forward. He's not going to be a high-marking centre-half forward, but what he's always going to do is produce a contest for the small players to work around.
Slender margin. Port in front now. They've got the last 2 goals. Falls at the ruckman's feet. Well played by Stevens. Wanganeen, who's been very busy so far, dives in. And a whistle. Nathan Eagleton involved in that last goal. In fact, Wanganeen has played a free kick in there. Across it comes to Lyle, seeing so much of the ball this season. Good mark is taken by Longmire. Up from the back pocket. Johnny Longmire hit his knee in March of last season, missed the entire season. Kicks it out very wide. McKernan almost. finds it on the ground. Under pressure, though. Brewer did well, restricting McKernan's arm there. Lyle comes away with it as a result. Eagleton, he's been busy, the young left footer. Anthony Rock, slow to get up. Eagleton, inside the 50 goes the kick. Missed by Pike initially. Loose ball. Martin's got it. Taken high. Must get a free. Michael Martin, the wily veteran. Matthew Campbell down on the boundary. What do you see so far?
A couple of matchups, Dennis. Primus going everywhere McKernan goes in a defensive role, and Wilson likewise with Archer.
So Mickey Martin. Now there was McKernan who flies across the front of the pack. He is a terrific overhead mark. He's got huge hands. Now he's wanting to give those off. A bit dangerous to Longmire, but it might come off. It will. Oh, Allison's caught. Back it comes to Stevens. Stevens to the half-forward line. Oh, they've lost it to Rock. Back it comes to Stevens. Stevens onto his left. Chips it in towards half-forward, and Peter Bell has taken the mark. He'll have to kick 55 metres. No doubt he'll try and play on quickly. Yes, he does. Rings it across the face. And a mark has been taken for North Melbourne by Brent Harvey, formerly of the Northern Knights. Now, of course, the Preston Knights, and a very good young player. So Brent Harvey has already given off a goal with a hand pass and about to have a shot from about 35 metres directly in front. Port Adelaide lead by a point. A chance for North to lead by 5 as he kicks a goal and puts it through. North Melbourne by 5.
And their small players that have started very well, North Melbourne. Port Adelaide working hard to be able to match them in it. And I've been very impressed with Port Adelaide at this particular stage of the game. We're just now in the real danger part. We're approaching halfway through this first quarter. Port Adelaide have done well. Harvey, a good player across the half-forward and forward line. He'll be a dangerous player picking up goals. Need to watch all those smalls.
Another lead change, and there's a man without a bench. I don't mean that he has no reserves, but he can't come down early. We heard that. Routines are everything in football. Here's Scott, gets the hand pass out. Franco rolled onto his own advantage almost again. Down on one knee, Rock. It's spiked out of there. Down towards the half-forward line by Scott. Opportunity for Stevens, aided by Schwass. Probing kick inside the 50. Mellington goes back. Off hands and off the ground. It's a goal by Kirzners.
Well, very good. This is a great comeback from Julian Kirzners. He undertook the AFL traineeship 2 years ago at the Western Melbourne TAFE College. And really was a player at Essendon, then played a game late in 1994. Had a heap of ability, but really didn't have the application. And I think just a couple of years in the wilderness have really given him an edge. And so just this week, taken from the North Melbourne rookie list, put on the senior list, and given a game here at the Optus Oval.
The margin, 11 points in favour of North. McKernan versus Primus. Well, McKernan won it, but waiting was Wanganeen to the half-forward line. Mickey Martin versus Darryl Poole. That'll be a great contest. Eagleton's been very busy. King tackles him hard and locks it in. It'll be a bounce. With a bit of strength down there, Mick Martin and Darryl Poole. Terrific contest, that. There's King, David King, who... Darryl Poole on screen at the moment. David King, of course, came to the famous V of A, now V of L club, Port Melbourne. There he is on screen. Brian Sheehan to bounce it, about 40 metres out from the Port Adelaide goal. Longmire and Lade, taken by King, smothered up the boot. This is Pike. Coming up the middle of the ground, then goes outside. Robert Scott chips it in short. Mellington has it punched away. Mead was grabbed. Free kick should be to Mead, I would think. He was grabbed when he didn't have it. Good umpiring again by Sam Cronje. Too high.
That was a bit sloppy there. Port didn't get the ball back to Mead quickly enough because Lockwood, who was Pike's direct opponent after Pike had ran to the ground, was free across half forward.
Chandler, good mark. Used the body well. Not a good kick though, very high towards half forward, ugly pack. Wanganeen having a terrific turn, gets it away. This is Dickey. forward of half-back. Nice hand pass, releasing Lyle. Lyle from the wing towards half-forward. Eagleton, he looks good. Unkind bounce that time. Chandler got it pretty well. Rolled it across the line. Gavin Wanganeen, 7 possessions so far. 4 kicks, 3 hand passes. His side is down by 11 points.
He reads the play beautifully, doesn't he, Dennis?
Especially around the rucks. Started his career as a rover, of course. There he is again, knowing where to go. Brewer, looping hand pass. Lockwood, just outside the 50. Long, Poole and Martin, the main event. Oh, Poole, goal.
Well, you get down to a one-on-one. It's not often you see that man beaten there. Pleads his case to the umpire, but the umpire having no part of it. And this is a good build-up here from Port Adelaide. The quick exchange, and then this is a very good kick from Lockwood. Plenty of height, giving Poole the opportunity to bustle. Martin does everything right. The push, well, the umpire allowed it to go, and well done, Darryl Poole.
Five points now the margin after a terrific goal to Poole, who is as strong as any player in the competition. The kick comes down towards the half volley. Oh, that's a free kick to Bond. He was caught very high. He's had a terrific year, Shane Bond. A greatly improved player.
Well, there's not too much doubt about that. Craig Scholl nowhere near down near the hips.
David Brown at half forward. Freeborn with a quick hand pass. Here's Lay. Brown again. Some fierce tackling here. Taken by Lockwood. Oh, that's good football. 60 metres out. Poole and Martin. Poole goes back. Mickey Martin has taken the mark. And good umpiring decision by Brian Sheehan.
1-1.
Yes, it's a great contest.
I think we'll see a few of these right throughout the day between those two boys.
Allison around the outer side. This game interesting so far. Plenty of tempo. McKernan. Now Kingsley, though, on the wing. Gave it away. Well played by Stevens. It hit him. He found it on the ground immediately. Back well inside the 50. Mellington kept his feet. Huskis in the opposite direction. Heads for the boundary line, and that will do. Across it goes. Port have come to play. And North desperate for a win. The makings of a real good contest here. We know North won't stop. Coming away, Schwass on the whistle. Free kick is going Port's way. It'll be taken by Mead, is it? Mead goes back to take it, but no, Wilson's got it. Wilson, short. Bond coming up for his 5th possession. Other side, right half back. Goes for distance, up towards the wing. Longmire did nicely, worked off Lade, plays on immediately, bursting through in characteristic style King. Probing kick inside the 50. Kirzners is up and the mark to stand.
Well, he's got a reputation, Terry, as being a high flyer.
No doubt about that whatsoever.
Let's go down to the boundary. Here's Matt again.
John Carl's made a change. Peter Burgoyne off and Ron Botus on for his first run for the Port Power.
But this is very good work from Kirzners. While the others were wrestling and pushing each other, he just attacked the ball. 7 goals in the reserves last week for North Melbourne. Has kicked a bag of 9 in that competition earlier in the season.
You'd expect him to get this one. 45 metres out. I think he has. They increased their lead.
Dream start for the young fella, isn't it, to come back in? But if he's prepared to stick with doing that right throughout the afternoon, of being prepared to attack the ball when it's in flight, he certainly will get the opportunities. Longmire there across half-back, I think he's been very good. He's been a stumbling block for Port Adelaide to get through, and the rebound from half-back from North Melbourne, that time nice and quick, gave Kirzners the opportunity.
Very straight kicking. There's the North Melbourne bench. The coach's box, I should say. Denis Pagan, Mark Dawson, former champion player. It's a free kick to North. It will go to Anthony Stevens, who was caught very high. And some ironical cheers from the North supporters. Gavin Wanganeen's had an outstanding first term. Longmire's doing very well, Terry, across half back. So Stevens to the half-forward line. McKernan is the flyer at the back. Umpire calls play on. Here's Franco going in after. That was good play to Brown. Lyle, there's an injury to Port Adelaide. We'll pick it up in a moment as it's kicked forward for North Melbourne by Pike. Taken by Harvey. Kirzners tries to knock it on. It's close to the boundary line. Huskus cleverly goes for the line and over.
I think it's Wilson nursing a bad back. I think Corey McKernan got him.
Oh, down he went.
And McKernan's going to do some damage down there because he's doing the centre bounce ruck work and then dropping down to centre half forward, giving North Melbourne the extra marking target in their forward line.
Boundary throw in. Mead taps it down directly. Wanganeen again towards midfield. Pike, that's a very clever mark. Good start by North, certainly one of their best of the season. Chandler, high one towards half forward. They come from all directions. McKernan there again. Archer, the crummer, gets it away to Stevens. Off his step. Long kick. It floats down towards the pocket. Oh, well played there by Kirzners. If he gets away with it, he's not going to get away with it, is he? Yes, he will. Did some body work and cleared a path for Rock to take the mark, and Rock is only about 15 metres out. Paxman not happy. And Rock going at North Melbourne's 5th straight. So 5 goals for 30 points. Their average first term this season only 17. So that's been part of their problem. Slow starts. They're out of the blocks quickly this afternoon. Looking sharp. Here's Rock. He's got the goal. So that's 6. Scoreboard showing 4 here, but that's correct. Ours is 6, pardon me.
North Melbourne's strength just at the moment is their ability from half-back to rebound. Both Longmire and Pike have been very good there. Longmire showing a great degree of confidence in his marking overhead, and Pike quite prepared to push on down the ground and being well serviced by the smalls, particularly Stevens, with some 8 disposals already in this match.
6 goals straight. Perfect kicking, but it is perfect football conditions here as Braden Lyle knocks it to the half-forward line. Good use of the body by Lockwood. Almost a throw to Brown. And the umpire said exactly that. It was a scoop up, which is designated as a throw. That's Allison going wide to Swass. Bond. He's got a couple to beat. It's shuffled back to Stevens. Now Swass. Back it comes to King. David King at half back to the centre of the ground. Pulls underneath it. It clears the pack. Archer's after it. Good play by Archer to Longmire. Longmire's having a top term. In towards the full forward area. Over the back. Who's got the pace? Primus off the ground. Didn't muck around. Headed for the boundary line and put it over.
Gee, that is a long way to go for an own goal, that one. You know, it's a... He was some 30 metres out from goal, and flaunting with danger there was Matty Primus.
North fans have been barking at the scoreboard attendant. Seems the electronic scoreboard working now. We're back on 4 goals during that period of play. It's up to 6, and that is correct. Ball is out of bounds in the pocket. 36 plays 19. Footy's home ground had it right on our scorecard all the way through. Throw it in the pocket. Primus knocks it forward. Running out of space is Lyle. That's out of bounds on the fall, and the boundary umpire right there to spot it. So Bell out against the fence.
Denis Pagan just making a quick change there. King coming off and Freeborn on.
Not beyond him this if he goes for goal. He's something of a sharpshooter. Runs around, hooks across the body. Getting back Kingsley. Is he in time? I don't think so.
Well, that's what have we got there? Some 5 or 6 goal scorers now for North Melbourne. The workload being well spread right throughout. And primarily it's the smaller players who are really making the impact in that forward line. Peter Bell with the goal there. Brent Harvey has picked up one. Allison and Kirzners. Oh, a little bit of an in-between, a tall and a small.
Back to the centre. McKernan beats Primus to that one. Taken by Franco. Back it comes to Scott. Now Primus with a hurry kick to the half-forward line. This is where they've been falling down a little bit. Eagleton's been battling very, very hard. Dickey goes in after it. Grabbed by Blakey. Blakey bends it back. Finds Longmire. Robert Scott on the end of that pass is Rock. Back to Scott. This is good play by the reigning premiers. In towards full forward. Taken by Bond. Well done to Braden Lyle. The centre wing area is Allison. Allison tries to bring it in towards Stevens. Lyle again, but it lands in the hands of Stevens, who bombs it in long towards full forward. The mark taken by Steve Paxman.
Having a good season. Former Fitzroy player. There's Bond.
Doing a very good job on Squash is Bond, really negating him.
Allison in front, takes the mark, right on the wing. Allison towards half forward, well weighted kick. Over Bond's head to Archer. Archer about 55 out. They're looking dangerous deep in attack. Kirzners offering a new dimension. It goes down that way. Kirzners got the ball in there, claiming a mark. Nothing doing. And we'll have a ball up.
It's amazing, isn't it? The umpire won't pay holding the ball if you appeal for the mark.
Exactly.
You know, more often than not. Because there's no way this is a mark, and there's no way Julian could ever have thought it was a mark of his. I reckon that's holding the ball.
Maybe a team mark. Here's Bond. Comes away. The pressure from North is very good at the moment. Dickey kept his head though, running up towards centre half back, barking the instructions as he went. Gets it to Franco. Franco dropped the mark out there. Good evasion though. Settles. Kicks beyond the wing. Finds Lockwood. Lockwood. Impressive youngster. Kicks inside the 50. Poole comes on the lead, almost reaching over the top. Longmire heads for the boundary. Port want it to stay in. They keep it in. This is Eagleton. Across the body. Down towards Martin. Lade is behind him. Fingertips to it. Couldn't hang on. Dickey. Open goal. Took too long. He was run down. And towards the boundary, Stevens works it across. Some great chase there from Scott.
It was, Dennis, and what I liked about it was he just sweated on it, just that momentary piece, waiting for Dickey to take the ball and then wrapped him up with a very firm, strong tackle.
And if Dickey could have got in a quick hand pass, it was a certain goal to Wanganeen. Now, here's Chandler. Kicks to the wide open spaces. Now, Port should get there first. They lead in the race. And we'll have a look way out here on half forward. They've got it through Kingsley. Kingsley to Dickey. Oh, ran close to the man. Not good vision then by Donald Dickey. Wanganeen gets it to Wilson.
Yep.
Umpire called it a throw.
No doubt about
Gavin
it.
Wanganeen doing the block at umpire Brian Shan.
Gavin didn't know where the umpire was, and the umpire placed right there to see it.
Stevens gets it to Bell. Peter Bell across the ground to halfback and Rock. The three little fellas combining then. Anthony Rock to the half-forward line. Oh, some big players there. Mead with the big fist. Swash. Attack from all angles. And the umpire will bounce it.
Umpire should be made to have a rattle in their socks so you know where they are at all times. Got a bounce inside the centre square. 7 straight North Melbourne. 3-1 Port Adelaide. A real surge approaching quarter time from the reigning premiers, flexing their muscles on the siren. So quarter time and some problems for power. The margin out to 23 points and North really looking efficient late in that term. It's amazing you get a high leaper like Kirzners on the forward line, Terry. It adds another dimension. Suddenly players are looking over their shoulder, the Port players, just wondering what the heck is coming, and he's been a leaping jack down there with 2 goals.
He has been, and Mellington is there just sitting in the shadow, so to speak. Mellington 4 goals last week, so has got the form, but Kirzners and Mellington working very well there together and really has got the pressure on that last line of defence of Port Adelaide.
John Cale comes down, 7 goals, plays 3-1. North Melbourne on top. 5 of the last 6 goals in this game. They lead 7 straight to 3-1. One other match being played this afternoon. There's the North Huddle, and they'd be pretty content, I think. Some powerful football late in that term. One other match being played this afternoon. That's at the MCG. Now, some stations taking a replay later. Certainly Adelaide are. If you don't wish to know the score, I suggest you look away now. Melbourne Geelong. Down to the boundary, Matthew Campbell.
Thanks very much, Dennis. And Port Adelaide have a few problems with North at the moment. They've had to switch Mead onto Archer just before quarter time because Archer's giving them problems, and Pike giving Lockwood problems with his continual run out of defence. They really are suffering by having Primus on McKernan because it's not bringing Lade into the game, who usually gives first use of the ball to Brown, Lyle and Wangan and whatever. So at the moment, tactically, North Melbourne all over Port Adelaide.
And on the scoreboard too, 42-19. Testing time here for Port. The breeze not a factor. Very gentle, blowing towards the broadcast side from the far wing. Umpire Cronje, the West Australian, to bounce it down. Good bounce too. Rucks go at it. McKernan decisively. Wanganeen been very good. Going nowhere that time. Centre breaks with Port. 7-4, and he's one of the major reasons. Rebounced. Primus this time wins it down. Rock's got it alongside the centre circle, floats it towards half forward. Mead reaches over the top of Archer, knocked it away, then picks it up. He's in trouble though. Plenty of North players around the ball. Look at this. Harvey knocking at Goldwood. Mellington had it a long time. Archer only as far as Wanganeen. He emerges from the pack, has a bounce, throws it in reverse. A little undecided now. Wanganeen goes back. Lyle, little chip pass to Brown. Brown in the back pocket. Kicks long towards the wing. Allison is there with Franco. Clears the pair of them. Allison towards the voice of Chandler, but Chandler can't keep it in. Almost collides with John Longmire, and will have a boundary throw in.
Just the lack of good, strong marking options in the forward line always causes a loss of direction in defence at times, and on that occasion Gavin Wanganeen went to the outer side. There was no marking option out there. Ran into trouble, had to come back inside.
The ball hits the deck with Wilson. He's been relatively quiet in this game so far. Bond, good acceleration as he drives it up to the half-forward line. Oh, they all flew too early. His Pike has been excellent. On the left foot, Martin Pike close to the boundary line, and in fact it floats over for Shane Bond to have another kick. Now he chips it into Brown. He can go up. Oh, he better kick it quickly. That's a nice kick to the half-forward line, and he finds his teammate then, Bowen Lockwood. Lockwood a long way out. They need a couple of quick goals. In towards Poole. Poole and Mickey Martin. Schwass popped a bit of a bake at quarter time. There's Lade. Brewer puts the ball on the ground. He was surrounded by North players, and that's Anthony Stevens, a tough little nut. Bring out towards Bell. Bell versus Braden Lyle. Suck it off the ground. It'll be a throw-in.
Throw-in out his side. Sun breaking through now. Mead knocks it down. Wilson coming away around that outer side wing. He's had a bounce hard against the line. Kicks down towards the pocket. Backing up Martin is Chandler. Pike, who's been very good, in trouble this time. Manages to get away. Well played. Pike, best and fairest at Fitzroy last season. Schwass on the outer side. Courage. Wilson bearing down. And that was a good grab under the circumstances.
Just his third disposal. Shane Bond doing an excellent job.
McKernan and Primus. Primus did well, got fingertips to it, affected the ball. McKernan soccers off the ground. Stevens, an opportunity. He's forward of the wing, punches the ball inside the 50. Coming up to meet it is Scholl, plenty of company. Crashes into Kingsley. Bond from behind is penalised for holding the ball.
Well, I think you've got to make some attempt to get rid of it. Would you agree, Terry? He didn't make any attempt?
There was no doubt. When he went down and clashed in against the other Port Adelaide player, he just laid there on the ball.
Now, Bond over to Wanganeen, a bit of ability between those two. And Wanganeen couldn't kick it long because there was no marking option again. He's found here Josh Franco. Centre wing is Paxman.
Oh.
And two former Fitzroy players there, Steve Paxman and Anthony Mellington.
Good mark, wasn't it?
It was a terrific mark from the, well, normally at fullback. Paxman runs around Mellington. Brings it into half forward, and a lovely kick, and the mark has been taken by Lade. Lade drives it up to Poole. Poole and Mickey Martin. Oh, Rombotis went without it. Poole goes in hard on to Brown. Brown sets sail for goal. It's not a good kick, and the mark has been taken by Wayne Schwash, and he is off.
A second bounce. Contemplates a third. He's done that now. And a fourth. Through half-back. Collides as he kicked the ball there. Didn't affect the kick, though. Inside the centre square, Wanganeen terrific. Away to Bond. They've combined well. To Mead under pressure. Confronted by Allison. Good tackle, too. And now the decision is too high, is it? He's awarded a free kick to Mead. Gee.
It was a bit tough. The other umpire paid advantage to North Melbourne and was going to let it go.
Well, different vantage points, of course, but a pretty tough call. Franco runs a long way, kicks inside the 50. How will it bounce obligingly? Rombotis goes off the ground and gets a goal. It's a big call in midfield.
You can hear the crowd here giving their opinion, and obviously North Melbourne had more numbers here than Port Adelaide. The umpires really didn't mess that one up. The central umpire, the one in the centre zone, pays advantage to North Melbourne. Then Brian Sheehan from the other end comes in, overrides it, gives it to Port Adelaide, and away they went. Some good body work here from Rombotis, doing enough there just to take Chandler out of the contest, coming back on him with the left foot, soccering it through.
And again, two Fitzroy players against each other, Rombotis and Chandler. They're still hooting here. As coming through the middle is David Brown. He races after it. That was very good football to Franco. Franco bending it back to the half-forward line. The mark dropped down there by Chandler. Braden Lyle dives on it. And the best thing that could happen to Port Adelaide here was if they could kick another couple of quick goals and really give themselves the confidence to get back into this game. Now, down on the boundary line is Matt Campbell.
Yeah, the North Melbourne players are still letting Peter Carey know about that decision in the midfield. They have been right since that goal.
Brown, off the hands of the pack. Eagleton's got it right on the 50. Well, if they get another goal here, that's a very important decision, is it not? Eagleton goes for home. Good effort from there. Poole thought about shepherding. Over the top, though, it's fisted through for a behind.
Port Adelaide really missing the structure that Scotty Cummings gives to them at full forward. Their leading goal scorer, some 21 goals. He kicked, unfortunately, out of the side with a thigh injury. If only he could have been there this afternoon, I reckon they'd have a few more goals on the board the way they're playing.
David King working the 1-2 with Longmire. Was that a push in the back? Not according to the umpire. Wilson plays on. Nice one. Gets it to Brewer. Averaging 17 possessions a game this season. Short looking for Brown. Missed it at the second attempt. Pike stood his ground. Chips it out wide. Mark is claimed by Bell. Bell plays on immediately towards half forward. Wilson in from the side. Fine young player. Took the mark. Hit the ground running to Dickey. Dickey goes down towards half forward. Wanganeen. Meters in the clear. Chips it in short. Held without the ball. Eagleton. No free kick. He should have marked it nevertheless. Schwass through the centre. Primus is up. Took the mark. Thought about going.
Oh, he was off.
Primus, he is this time. Shocking kick, but effective. That was the man he wanted. Lockwood about 75 metres out. Too much carry down there for Lade. Rombotis is about 35 metres out. Dragged down. Held up. Well played by Chandler. Again, another two old Fitzroy players. It's a ball up, but let's go back in time now. Mead with Allison coming at him.
Well, definitely high.
Yeah, the arm did slip up, and the umpire who made the call was to the left of that, so he had the view. The other umpire, closer to it perhaps, let them play on. So it was high.
So Brian Sheehan was right, wasn't he?
Yeah, but it has given Port Adelaide a little bit of a fillip, hasn't it? They've really stepped up in these last couple of minutes. They're attacking the goals. Their players are giving them a lot of run from their half-back line. Wilson's rebounding very well. A bit going through the midfield. They are giving themselves a real opportunity here.
And I may say the umpiring, I reckon, so far has been outstanding. They're really giving the players plenty of opportunities, and that's good. As we see Franco coming in towards half-forward, they've lifted here Port Adelaide. Gee, he's playing well, Pike. Pike onto the left. Down to half forward, but geez, having a good season, this fella. Bond, Shane Bond. He and Wanganeen, they're enormously skilled, the two of them. So is this fella, Wilson.
Oh.
He brings it in towards half forward. Over the back. Oh, he's having a birthday out there. Pike onto Rock. An ordinary kick by Rock because he kicked it straight to Paxman, who read it very, very well. Back to Wanganeen, having a great game. The captain of the side. Poole at the back. Yes! Oh, that was good play by Daryl Poole. He is strength personified.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, Mickey would have played on Tony Lockett, but he's finding this bloke impossible to move.
This would be the strongest player he's played on, I'd say.
What, Poole, the strongest player for Poole to play
I think
on?
Poole's one of the strongest players in the competition.
It looks that way, doesn't it?
It does.
He's bumped into him twice.
Well, every game.
We'll get the weights and measure book out later, but you know he's just the one-on-one tactical work he's doing on Martin is excellent.
Well, a very big kick coming up here. Daryl Poole, they need a goal. It's out to the right. It starts to swing. He may have just missed this. He has. Oh, they needed that one, Port. But they've moved their score on slightly to 4 goals 3. And you wouldn't believe it, scoring shots are the same.
Well, certainly the last 6 or 7 minutes have been terrific for them. They've had plenty of the ball. And speaking of tough hombres, here's one. David King. Straight up the middle. Missed there by Franco. Opportunity behind for Stevens. Straight arms his way through. Schwass comes away from centre half back. Wanganeen's okay. Meantime, the kick towards half forward. Big leap from Scholl down there. Loose ball inside the centre square. Harvey to Allison. Allison just outside the 50. Will it bounce through? It clears the line. It's a goal. Beauty.
Port Adelaide with a power of work being done throughout this second quarter, getting themselves close enough to get an opportunities but unable to do it. And then North Melbourne, virtually the first time they've been able to break through the half-back line of Port Adelaide in this second quarter. Do it through Allison, do it through his long left foot to kick the goal from some 50 metres out.
So 21 points is the margin now. After Port were doing so well in this past 10 minutes. Here's Rock. Driving it to half forward. Schollers the flyer, punched away by Paxman. Harvey went in, put the head down. Again, that is very good umpiring by Sam Conyers because he didn't fall for the fact that the player put his head down.
You like him, don't you, umpire?
Well, I like to see umpires use common sense, and these umpires are at the moment, giving the players a bit of latitude. There's Harvey who's given a couple of goals away with handballs. Rock to half forward in the danger area. Wilson. Oh, that's holding the ball. Maybe no, maybe knocked out. Kicked in midair by Kirzners. He's missed. Oh, was that holding the ball or was it knocked out of his hands? Because he certainly had time to get rid of it, Huskis.
Is it prior opportunity if you don't worry about prior opportunity because you think you've got a month?
Oh, lucky.
And
he's very lucky.
Oh, very lucky. You've called it very well there, Dennis. He just had no sense of what was going on around him whatsoever.
This is Dickey from Wilson. Short one is on. Huskis again. More awareness that time. Brown, but he sent Brown away on his wrong foot. Brown did pretty well to improvise there. Down Lockwood. Has a bounce. Runs towards the wing and kicks down towards half forward. Brewer over his head. King tidying up behind. Plenty of time. Short. Nicely done. A real pickup for them is this man, Pike, who kicks to the wing, and Anderson. The chip one comes across alongside the centre circle. Rock squares the ball again. Problems for power. Schwass spears the ball in low. Kirzners. He's got two.
Very good exchange of football there from North Melbourne. It was all sharp. It was spot on. Sometimes they weren't gaining in much ground, but the good toss eventually on out here to Schwass, and has enough room to be able to settle down and use his left foot, even though he was hindered by running around on that outer side, and found Kirzners, who dove and marked well.
Kirzners helping the umpires. A kick from about 40 out. close. I think he's missed. He has. Well, that would have really hurt Power, that one, had it been a goal. They're out by 23 points at the present time, North, as it was at quarter time. Paxman, who's been very good, goes in short. This is Dickey, who almost tiptoes away out of the back pocket. I know you're there, Donald. He kicks up towards the wing. Pike again. Gets it across to Stevens. Stevens unloads. They'll contest about 10 metres out. Going back with the flight of it. Mead with authority thumps it through for a behind, but there was a knock on Pike. Perhaps he'd had his problems off the ground, and quite a few clubs, I think, thought they wouldn't get involved. North Melbourne bit the bullet, and I'm sure they're very happy at the moment.
Well, he was the best and fairest player at Fitzroy, so obviously the best player at that club at the time. Across the ground it comes to Dickey. There's nothing like scoreboard pressure, and Port haven't been able to put that on. They've fallen down a little bit up forward. Here's Bond to Mead, who flies from the side. The bounce important here. Franco goes in against Allison. Longmire taken over the line on centre wing, and it'll be a throw in. And this will be a great contest between Archer and Mead. Terry.
It will too. Very good. I mean, Mead's really taken all before him. Very good last week against Stuart Lowe. Was just Lowe with a couple of goals late in the game. 3 goals, I think, in the last quarter. That probably took a little bit of edge off Mead's game, but he's been sensational at centre back.
Schwass, Allison wants his left side, gets around to good-looking kick inside the 50. Wilson went back. Kirzners away to Scholl. Scholl snaps a goal. His 10th of the season.
Well, some very quick hands there. Kirzners being able to flick it on out. Scholl, he's had more shots, more scoring shots at goal than any other player at North Melbourne. Now that's some 10 goals, 8 now he's kicked for the season. And last year he was a good foil across that forward line, being second on the goal scoring at North Melbourne behind Wayne Carey.
Well, North Melbourne can certainly punish you if you make an error. I thought Wilson misjudged that mark badly. It looked as though he's going to take it easily. Here's Brown. He's caught. Now this will be a bounce. But no chance of getting rid of that ball. And umpire Brian Sheehan will bounce it almost in the centre again. A 5-goal margin now. Port need a couple of quick ones. Longmire taps it down to Schwass. He's trying to handball. This will be another bounce. And Donald Dickey trying to say it's holding the ball, but you must have a prior opportunity to get rid of it. Longmire again versus Lade. Lade got the big fist to it, knocked away by Bell.
Oh.
Wanganeen shoved in the face. And now it's a free kick going to Port. Not the Wanganeen, but probably the Bond. Let's have a look. So it is Bond, Shane Bond. I need someone to be able to take a mark up there around. Oh, Pike again, the ball's following him. Martin Pike, what a game. Cross to Blakey. Kernan couldn't mark. Here's Donald Dickey on the left foot. Driving into the pocket. That's a good kick. Oh, no mark there to Eagleton. Scott. Brewer's been very, very quiet. And the umpire again will come in and bounce.
Free kicks, 11 to Port and 6 to North Melbourne. North lead it by 30 points. Port desperate for a goal here. Look out, umpire Coates. Almost got the coat hanger. And the ball's out of bounds for a throw in. Can't be a good feeling when you bounce the ball and the pack descends on you. And now umpire Coates is going to do it again.
Very good. Humble pie. Umpire, very good.
It wasn't a bad bounce, it's just that they snuck up behind him. Poole knocks it down. Brewer at close quarters. Brown, Poole, Dickey from just inside the 50. Not a bad effort from there. Narrowly missed. So the margin 29 points.
Donald Dickey's had a couple of quiet weeks. You see Jack Cale looking on, but today he's doing all right. He's had 10 kicks and 2 handballs, coming back into a bit of form. He was brilliant early in the season. His very first game against Collingwood in a losing side, I gave him a vote. He was that good on a wing. Now It's driven back into play by David King to the half-back area. It was Lockwood, taken by Braden Lyle, in towards half-forward, and the mark again taken by King. Rock. Pike. Mickey Martin, listen to the crowd roar when Mickey gets it as he runs down the centre wing and brings it into the half-forward line. Paxman goes for the fist. Now that could be holding the ball. No. Umpire allowing him a little bit of latitude there. Scholl. He was run down from behind. It's one of those contentious ones, isn't it?
It is very, very hard. I thought he worked the aerial contest well, Scholl. Just went in underneath the ball, whether that's by conscious decision or not, I'm sure, but kept his feet and then was able to turn back onto the contest as the ball floated over the rest of his opponents.
Port's pressure there very good. Tossed in, almost to Freddie McKernan. He was hugged.
Oh, yeah, I thought that should have been against Primus then. I just wonder if the umpires are giving a little bit more latitude today to the ball carrier, Dennis. We've seen a couple where they've been run down, they've let them get away with it.
Don't ask me, Pete. I'm confused. There's Wilson, run down from behind in the act of kicking. Brown is tied up. That sort of match. Not a lot of space. And the bounce.
There has been a lot of publicity about that particular free kick, and I'm sure they're giving the player with the ball just a little bit more time.
So they should.
Yep, I agree.
Some classic ones early in the season, red hot. It's all loaded, or it's certainly swinging the balance across to the man who hasn't got the ball. As Wanganeen kicks towards midfield, it's a loose ball down behind King with dash, brilliantly done, goes looking for his full forward Scholl and finds him. Classical.
That is a half-back flanker, isn't it? North Melbourne really pressuring the ball, getting numbers around it, and eventually King just bursts out with pace. When he puts the foot on the pedal, away she goes. It was a great pass into Scholl.
Shades of Price to McKenna. Will the finish be here? Oh, deja vu.
So Scholl's second goal for the quarter. And yeah, David King, take the raps there, fella. He's a fine half-back flanker, back pocket. And what he really does is he gives run. Every game last year, every game so far this year, and averages something like 16 disposals a game over that period of time. And when the disposals like that, that is what makes a very damaging half-back flanker.
Well, problems created for the Port defence because of the fact that the half-forward line for Port Melbourne weren't chasing their men out of defence, and that creates enormous problems. There's Wanganeen going forward again. Now Longmire drives it to half-forward. Oh, Archer flies and plucks it out of the air. Glenn Archer, the lead is on. Out they come, and a good mark taken by Kirzners, and an excellent lead, and what a good kick.
It was a very good kick. The space created in front of Kirzners. Archer right up to it, and very, very good.
North Melbourne have kicked 8 out of the last 10 goals as Kirzners is going for his third. Oh, he's hooked this across the body a bit. Oh, in front of goal here is Matthew Primus. A dangerous kick, but it comes off. Kirzners almost got to Bond. Back it comes to Adam Huskis, who drives it to the centre of the ground, straight to Mark Roberts. So a little bit of the field kicking has been indifferent for Port. It's cost them dearly. It's cost them in goals. A wobbly kick. Oh, Huskis down there with Primus, and Primus is marked.
North right on top at the moment. Franco, he's at right half back. Just over 3 minutes to half time. Lockwood, he's tried hard.
He's an impressive young kid from Geelong under-18s last year, coached by Brian Cordy.
Terry.
Sure, Toby would not have taught him how to do that one.
You had to do it, didn't you?
I did.
You had to do it. So Allison's got the free kick. He's on the wing. Centres the ball. They've got to pick these men up. They've got to be accountable. Roberts gets it away. This is Chandler. Chandler kicks inside the 50. Down there is Kirzners. Fell at the feet of the pack. Archer wanted it most. Brilliantly done. Schwass from 52. Getting back is Huskis. And he takes the mark. Pushes off the goal post and chips it out wide. Kingsley. Port desperate for a late goal. Kingsley up towards the wing. Lockwood again. Oh, terrific mark. That's not easy. Full stretch.
That's his 6th mark, and really he's giving a good display across half forward.
How about this boy from the under-18s, suddenly mixing it with the reigning premiers on a bad day for his team and coming up very nicely. Here's King coming through very nicely from half-back, back inside the 50. What a beautiful kick to Archer. King is putting on a clinic on the burst, and there is a North Melbourne player down, that's Chandler, and he seems to have a real problem. Didn't see what happened to Chandler. Let's go down meantime to Matthew Campbell.
Yeah, Chandler down courtesy of a Darryl Paul Shepherd fairly late.
Looks like a corky, I think, the way he's holding the thigh. Might have copped the knee at the same time, and they hurt.
A couple of laser-like passes from David King. Will this result in a goal? Glenn Archer, 45 out. No. Tugs it left.
So Chandler's been helped off by the trainers. He was clutching his thigh above the knee there, and he's still doing so. Just wonder if he got the knee right into that tender spot, because they really do. Particularly if you don't ice them up straight away and they start to bleed, you're going to have a lot of trouble with cork thighs. Big Braden Lyle at half back. Gives it off to Bond. Bond to centre wing. Poole's got a couple to beat, and he's going to beat them too. It sits for him. He's getting the hoots of the crowd, but he'll love that as he brings it into a one-on-one contest. Here's Lockwood again. Well played. Late, he needs it to bounce right. Oh, and it bounces left. So bad luck to the big fella. And a behind on the board to Port.
I think you'll be calling that combination for many years to come. Lockwood and Lade, 2 very impressive young players. As we look at Brett Chandler on the boundary line. North haven't really lost much in this. Robert Scott was the player to come on to replace Chandler.
Lade needed the wrong, and he got the flipper. Roberts. Chandler still getting attention. Here's Stevens through midfield. Archer fisted away by Mead. It ricochets wide. Dickey to Wilson. Nothing up ahead, so he gave us the pirouette. Now he's away. Wilson trying to kick over those North Melbourne players and almost did it. Brilliant defence though by Stevens. Got back and knocked it away from Lockwood. Pike to Stevens. Oh, great by Anthony Stevens. Back towards midfield, McKernan. McKernan plays on immediately. Roberts, the umpire got in the road again. Hand pass from Roberts, comes back. McKernan under pressure, throws it on the boot inside the 50. They approach it from all angles. Eventually Scott running with the flight of it, finishes up with it, snaps at goal and kicks it behind. Well, could almost be all over. Could well be anyway, but North Melbourne having a lot of shots at goal now. Really overpowering Port.
Yeah, Port Adelaide aren't able to get anything at centre forward. Lockwood's doing well, but he's been forced to come right up around the wing position in order to win a possession. What they need is a strong marking player right at the true centre half forward position.
This is Franco out to the half back area and has thumped over the line. Very close to half time. Melbourne have looked a little bit too powerful. There's Mark Roberts, can play a number of positions. Port at times have looked dangerous, but as Terry said, they're falling down across half forward. Just don't look like scoring enough goals. They missed Cummings down there to cap things off. That was Allison going forward. Still at the 50-metre line. That was Archer trying to get in a hand pass. As the siren sounds, they're into very good half of football for North Melbourne. They've come out into this game pretty determined. They copped a shellacking from Collingwood. There's Brett Chandler, who seems to be walking all right now. I'm sure it was a cork thigh. And overall, Terry, North Melbourne just too many guns.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Port Adelaide gave themselves some opportunities, but 1 goal 4 for that quarter really wasn't giving them anything to hang their hats on, so to speak. North Melbourne really able to generate some run through the midfield. Pike continues to go well across half-back line, but Stevens, Schwass got away from Shane Bond a little bit in that quarter and finished up with some 11 disposals to half-time. And Kirzners really giving them something at the full forward line.
Starting to get a bit cold here too. To match his disposition, John Cale wouldn't be happy. Half-time, North Melbourne have kicked away. They lead 10-5 to 4-5.
Good afternoon again, all Melbourne supporters. There's plenty happening around your club at the moment. And first up, you have Coach's Corner. That's right. Next Thursday night, May the 22nd, hosted by the one and only Sam and the Sammy Decorative. Next Thursday night, the Southern Club. Tickets are only $25 a head, and includes a dinner and show. And of course, bookings are exceptional. There'll be special guests such as Denis Pagan and other football personalities. So make sure you contact the club and get down there next Thursday night at the Social Club for Coach's Corner. And all ladies, please note the North Melbourne Players Fashion Parade is to be held on Sunday, June the 1st. That's right, Wayne Carey, Corey McKean, Wayne Swartz, Anthony Rock and others will model everything from high fashion to their boxer shorts. That's right, boxer shorts. Tickets are only $55 a head and bookings once again to contact the club. And all payments are reminded that
Half-time, North Melbourne lead by 36 points after they led by 23 at quarter time. 7 goals in the opening term from the Kangaroos. Checking the goal scorers, and certainly Julian Kirzners has been a pleasant surprise on the forward line. One of 3 players with 2, and as you can see, the goals evenly spread for Port, but that's been half their problem. There's not enough of them. Joined now by Terry Wheeler. And Terry, the signs perhaps worse than the scoreboard as far as Port are concerned.
Well, no doubt about that, Dennis. So that North Melbourne have been able to spread their goal scoring around to some 7 or 8 players, and Port Adelaide really struggling to get one. Now, this was the first goal of the game, I think, when the attack here really from North Melbourne was right from the outset. Martin Pike, who kicks the goal, is playing across the half-back line.
Good pickup, isn't he?
It's sensational. He's just amassing possessions across there, uses it well. But what I like about his game is that he's prepared to run long and run hard. And when one player's doing that, all of a sudden others do it. Allison joins into the party here, and North Melbourne got away to a good start kicking the first 2 goals, and the heat was right on Port Adelaide.
Port are working hard enough. They're having a dip, aren't they? But they simply can't get in the game.
Well, they've come back with a couple of bursts, and there was this one here. Dickey picked up a goal from a free kick, and then David Brown got one as a result of some good heavy work from Poole. And all of a sudden, Port were in front by a point and really had an opportunity. But then North Melbourne started to step up. The run continued from half-back. John Longney was really controlling things there, but Stevens, Harvey, Rock and Allison all combined very, very well.
North Melbourne very consistent, working the ball back into the corridor as we watched Port attack initially here.
Well, I think North are able to do that because they've got good tall forward options. Contrast, Port Adelaide aren't able to do that because they're really relying on a range of mid-sized players. And we just saw John Rombotis there at the forward line looking to be a key forward for them, and they just haven't got the height there. And at the end of the day, well, at half-time in particular, that's where they're falling out. They're really missing Scotty Cummings as a focal point. Lockwood's doing quite okay, Poole's doing quite okay, but more often than not, they're having to come too far up the ground in order to take a possession.
And again, that feedback to the middle, working there for Allison getting a goal.
Look, they're a sharp unit, North Melbourne. They've really struggled. I mean, they've only won 3 games out of 7 leading into today. Now it's starting to cough and splutter a little bit. From a North Melbourne perspective, Port Adelaide couldn't have come to town at a better time, perhaps.
What about Port, a worse time?
Well, yeah, they're really copping North Melbourne on the rebound here. You know, quite even in all of that, but there we can see just that inside 50. When North Melbourne get inside 50, more often than not, they're getting there as a result of a long kick. They've got space in there. They've got runners coming onto the ball. Whereas in contrast, Port Adelaide, when they're inside 50, it's a little short chip and a little bit of a scrounge around to get there.
Yeah, North calculating and the other crowd flustered. That seems to be the difference to half-time.
That's about it, I think, Dennis.
Okay, North Melbourne up by 36 points. Back shortly.
chocolate hit on the Saturday afternoon. Then you get it with the king size Mars bar for only $5.50. What a fantastic saving. And every squeeze bottle you buy gives you the chance to win the exclusive Tommy Sharon. That's right, signed by the captains. Well, actually, Wayne Carey's not playing today, but he has signed the footy. We've seen it up here ourselves in Kevin Wanganeen. And every bottle you buy gives you another chance to win. That's right, every bottle of Life Control Coca-Cola gives you an extra chance to win. Look on the bottom of every bottle to find the lucky number. If that number's called a three-quarter time, you take home the signed footy. So that's incredible value, footy fans. A refreshing Coke in a limited edition squeeze bottle for only $4, or with a pile of hot dog for only $6, or with the king-size Mars bar for only $5.50. Not only that, you get the chance to win the signed Sharon. What more could you ask for? Another Coke, please. Live footy, drink Coca-Cola.
North Melbourne on top and looking the goods at the present time. Port Adelaide busy catching their breath in the change rooms at the half. It's 10-5 to 4-5. Now, another game being played this afternoon. Melbourne have lost their last 5 games. Geelong, by contrast, have won their last 4. Let's look at some of the action from the MCG.
Fires one on Matthew Phoebe. Now Geelong through King. Straight down the spine of the ground. Burns, just a little bit of a nudge on Hopgood. Gets it moving quickly. Cats first should be coming up. Mansfield bombs away. Cats away. Scores level.
Still only just 21 years of age. Thumps the ball back inside 50. Billy Brownless was there. Overruns the ball. Crash. Bang. Here's a chance. Ronnie Burns. Bang. Kicks a goal.
Now Pyman a chance. Hopgood. Victim tackled by Burns. Kilpatrick right on the boundary. Hooks it to Brownless. Might be a goal. Did he touch it? I don't think so. No, it's there. It's a goal. Covering plenty of ground. Colbert.
There's somebody's not working.
As Peter McKenna would say, loose men everywhere, and Corrigan takes the mark.
I think it's Farmer, Peter, young Jeff Farmer.
Hocking. Gary Hocking. Runner up in the brown, though, a few seasons back. Should kick it, and he does.
Charles led. That was ignored. Hence the loose player for Geelong. Kicks a poor one, been marked by Pyman. Did well. He's played well for him this season. So Pyman pops it through.
Seacamp. Better vision. Out of Matthew Phoebe at left half forward. Charles on a lead and marks.
Now that is better. He was in front on that occasion.
Charles from just inside 50. Funny old kick off the boot. What's he done with it? It looks pretty good. I think he's kicked it. He has. Great goal.
But held up by the big fella.
I reckon he's the best young ruckman to come into the game since Len Thompson.
That's a big rep.
Wow.
Kicks to half forward. It should be a goal. And it is.
So Melbourne and Geelong at the MCG. If you don't wish to know the score, look away now. And just a reminder, Monday nights, join Bruce McAvaney, Lee Matthews and Mike Sheehan for Talking Footy right here on 7 Footy's home ground.
Everybody's talking at me.
Impressed with the Pies, Lee? Can they go all the way?
They really look like a side that can score quickly, and they always look dangerous.
Richard Osborne from 47 metres has kicked a goal. Pies are hot.
I think North is still pretty good, Jared. I mean, if they can just hold their ground, win 1 out of 2 until Carey comes back, they'll be okay.
Back to Longmire, the horse, snapshot. Oh, that's not bad.
I'd put my hand up to play for Victoria, you know, any day of the week. I think your stocks are looking all right, Fraser.
Very nice to Jared, because he picks the team. I'm the coach, but Jared picks it.
Monday nights every week, Talking Footy, and of course Monday Night Football this weekend, so check your local guides. But you can see on After the Footy in Adelaide and Perth. A special guest is Wayne Jackson this week. Got to check my times. Where will I be? That's half the problem. It's half time here at Optus Oval, and the margin is 36 points. North Melbourne lead. We'll be back shortly. North Melbourne back out there. And playing well, they lead by 36 points as we go down to Matthew Campbell.
Thanks very much, Dennis. And fairly quiet in the port room, so they do have problems, as we well know. And they're only just coming back out on the ground now. So Jack's been having a good long talk to them at half-time. And they really have to try and experiment, I think. It's basically the same sort of situation they were in against St Kilda last week, where they had part of the ball but couldn't convert on the scoreboard. They're having problems up forward. So perhaps we might see some different moves from Jack Cale. From North Melbourne, Chandler, well, his cork thigh isn't too bad. They resisted putting ice on it, so he's out there warming up at the moment. They were trying to keep him warm, so he'll probably take part in this second half.
Thanks, Matty. Well, their short history says Port will be hard-pressed to get back from here. They're 0-3 when they trail at half-time.
And what an impressive statistical summary that is from a North Melbourne perspective. They're just getting a lot of the football there. Martin Pike at the top of the list. And if there was running points there, players who were prepared to work from behind the contest line, he would have even risen up higher up the list, I'm sure. Their midfielders are really controlling the ball. Allison, Rock and Stevens, as we can see there. King off the half-back line is giving a lot of run. Schwass back into the game in that quarter with some 8 possessions. And Kirzners really giving them something in the forward line. Kirzners and Archer. North Melbourne have got a lot of run through the midfield, rebounding off half-back, and really that is their strength at this particular stage.
Now Port Adelaide.
Well, in contrast here, Bond had the job there on Schwass and did it quite well in the first quarter, holding Schwass to just 2 kicks and picking up numerous possessions himself. But where they're lacking here is in that goal-scoring line. That just 3 players are mentioned there, and there is a 4th player, John Rombotis, as being a goal scorer. They've worked very, very hard throughout. They've gathered a sufficient amount of possessions in order to put themselves in with a chance, but lacking firepower in the forward line. Lockwood does a good job. Poole is working soundly, but they're both forced too far up the ground and too far away from goal to threaten the North Melbourne defence.
Chandler headed for the bench after that hard knock just before half-time. Just looking at those Port stats too, Braden Lyle, only 10 possessions. He's averaging 25 a game, including 35 against Essendon in round 2, so they need more from him. In midfield, they've been soundly beaten, and Chandler just trying to keep that warm now and testing it a little as Braden Lyle. So Port Adelaide with the job in front of them. Started the second half at Optus Oval. Margin 6 straight goals. The reigning premiers looking awesome at times in this game. McKernan favoured by the bounce, uncontested, tries to direct it down, socket off the ground by Brown. McKernan falls on top of it and will have a ball up. Poole, the last to get up. What an athlete. Corey McKernan, 3rd in North's best and fairest last season, behind Wayne Carey and Anthony Stevens. 197 centimetres, jostling there, beaten for it. It's about 6'6". Brown tried to move it forward. It spills across to Bond. Bond down towards full forward. Back goes Martin with the judgment. Fingertips to it. Brilliantly done. Emerges with the ball. Hugs the boundary with the kick around the outer side. Stevens. It falls behind. James immediately claimed. And there'll be a ball up right on the 50.
Well, he wasn't going anywhere there. North Melbourne forward line, back line there, really ready to put the pressure on the Port Adelaide forwards at every opportunity.
So Longmire taps it down, and North go forward to centre wing. The 2 number 29s. Harvey versus Kingsley. Back it comes to Mead. Mead bends it back to the half-forward line. Poole has it punched away by Longmire. Bond has been very good. To Brown. Brown trying to set something up here. No mark to Lockwood because Mickey Martin was hot in his hammer. Quick hand pass. Comes out to Anderson, who's their freeborn, gave that hand pass. And Stuart Anderson drives at the half-forward there. Craig Scholl takes the mark in front of Paxman. This is good running from Schwass. It's kicked out in front of him. He'll probably try and get onto the left. No, he won't. Straight up in the air on the right, close to the boundary line. Still in play. Archer went in hard. Primus is there. Kirzners appealing for a free kick. Very high on McKernan. Yes, a free kick. Good decision. He was caught right across the neck, Corey McKernan, against Matthew Primus, and he'll take the kick from the boundary line.
Well, there it is. There's the bit of a sling out there initially by Primus, and then just a little bit of crude work there between Primus and Stephen Carter. And Matthew Campbell down on the boundary line.
Yeah, Port are experimenting. They've got Lockwood at full forward, and he's the only man inside the 50, so they're trying to give him room against Mick Martin.
So terrific camera shot of Corey McKernan. Look at that angle. He'll run out and go for the banana kick. Oh, it looks good. Oh, that is a beautiful attempt. It's a goal. Well, what can't this big fella do? That was a fantastic kick.
It was perfect, wasn't it? I mean, wasn't it so many years ago when really that kick was for the Muglares, so to speak? And now it's been refined to such a skill that players meticulously practice it and hone it in. The free kick picked up here, yeah, crude work, but just this is great. Just the way he runs straight out towards centre half forward and just lays the ball across the boot, hitting it on the inside and having it spinning away towards the goal.
So back we go with Brian Sheehan. McKernan, who kicked that miraculous goal, drives it forward again. Mead leads in the race. And Darren Mead drives it out wide and out over the boundary line. So it'll be penalty kick out there to Anthony Stevens. So the kick in towards half forward. Wilson goes to ground. Brent Harvey, little number 29 there. One of the North Melbourne players who gang tackled them. They're very good at that, North Melbourne, have numbers round the ball.
Pete Schwash has settled into half forward, so Wilson's his direct opponent, giving Bond a little bit of freedom in the midfield for Port Adelaide.
Wilson under pressure, throws it on the boot, gains about 15 metres. Franco's got the run of it, stops, bad policy. A couple of desperados on his heels, one of whom comes away with the ball. This is King, nicely done. Stevens right on the 50, brushes aside a tackle, a chance to settle and kick a goal. And the finish, not good. Bad luck for Anthony Stevens.
There's just something about the left footers. I think every player playing the game would know a player coming to him, whether it was a left footer or a right footer, and should be able to contain him on the opposite side. That time should have gone over and pressed Allison onto his left foot, but somehow they always get away.
Instinct, isn't it? It's going the other way, and then by the time you think about it, he's gone.
I think that's the problem, thinking.
There's Schwass on the outer side, feeds it back. Anderson did well in a tight situation inside the 50. It's going to be a free kick. I think it'll be relayed down the ground. Lyle and Anderson have words. Watch it again. Well, that's pretty crude. So Bell has the ball up ahead and will kick it goal from, I suppose, 35 metres out. He's got one so far. Peter Bell. Behind. Increases the lead.
But Dennis, when we looked at the quarter time scoreline of North Melbourne, 7 goals straight, and since then they've kicked 4 goals 7, so they're certainly letting themselves down in front of goals at the moment.
Giscus in the back pocket. The sun has gone away again. Good light for playing footy. Punch forward there. The beneficiary is Roberts. He heads for home. Going back, the mark is held by Kirzners. Well, Archer did well on the wing to thump it forward, and from there the pieces fell into place. Long kick from Roberts, and Kirzners, who really has been good on the forward line. You wonder whether a leaping player like this coming up from the pocket, we've seen him commit to packs from behind quite often today, could coexist with Wayne Carey. We may have to redefine his role. He runs around, kicks from 10. I think he's got it. His third.
Well, this has been a good decision from Denis Pagan and his match committee. What I don't know, though, is which North Melbourne player went off the list to accommodate Julian Kirzners coming on. Julian Kirzners has been on the rookie list, which is a third list that AFL clubs have. They have their senior 42, then they have their supplement and rookie list, a third level. He's been plucked from there.
North Melbourne go on their merry way, 12-7 to 4-5. They have all the answers at the moment. They're running in those packs that they did last year when they won the flag. There's Stevens having a great game. Drives at the rock, two little tough nuts combining then. Into the pocket, Scholl. He's been very good also. He's kicked 2 goals, Craig Scholl. He's been a surprise packet. He used to be a halfback flanker. And last year he developed into a goal sneak up forward. Now he'll kick just outside 50. A beautiful looking kick. That is a magnificent kick for a goal. Well, really, that is a long way to kick a drop punt from outside 50, and it hit the fence. Terry, that is a good kick.
It is a very good kick. I mean, you're right. I think it's what's great for footballers throughout an extended career is being able to have a variety of positions or a variety of periods when they're taking on something different. You mentioned Scholl as the best and fairest winner on the wing, but now over these last 2 seasons has really found a niche as a decoy full forward, and in the absence of that man on the screen there, Wayne Carey, they need as many goal scorers as they can get in their forward line.
Powerhouse display now from North. Wanganeen has been brilliant in that situation. Comes away, first use of the ball inside the 50. Mickey Martin got a fist on it. Longmire feeds it back. Pike comes away, kicks it out towards the wing. Intended for Roberts. Was pushed in the back. No free kick. Yes. In fact, it was spotted. Good call. Ryan Sheehan in perfect position, just 15 metres away. Roberts out wide. Harvey runs to 50. Goes long down towards full forward. Kirzners. Beaten by Huskis. Wanganeen roves the pack. That was very clever. Gets it out to Mead. Mead kicks it out wide. Taken on the outer side there by James. James chips to space. Wilson running hard. Wilson can carry the ball down towards half forward and head for home. The kick a shocker though. It tumbles down towards Martin, and he'll be content, I'm sure, to lock it in there with Lockwood.
Well, that is terrible forward play, Terry. You'd have to agree. When you're coming down the ground, no one near for 40 metres, and you bomb away with a wobbly.
Yeah, they're really under the pump just at the moment, Port Adelaide.
Don't get technical, Port.
They're putting pressure on themselves and not really having a clear presence of what's going on around them.
Well, there's Wayne. Well, it could be the forward's fault too, of course. No one leading and coming at him. But North Melbourne, with all the answers, this is Freeborn. Driving it to half forward. Over the back was Anthony Rock. And over the line it goes. And they came out today very pumped up. They copped the shellacking from Collingwood. They were very disappointing. And they haven't been in great form. They're playing pretty well today. Roberts did that very well to Rock. Archer ran hard at the ball. Here's McKernan. Danger for Port because Schloss latches onto it and kicks it long. A beautifully directed kick. Kirzners again. Well, he's kicked 3 already, going for his 4th.
And I was just trying to check my notes there. It's not his birthday today. His birthday is actually in October. But the way he's getting on the end of some of this stuff, this is a great game of football from Julian Kirzners. Quite prepared to add variety to the forward line, pushing out or pushing towards the ball.
So his 4th goal may be coming up. Oh, there's a hushed silence, so he's missed. And, well, he's actually missed a couple. He could easily kick 5 or 6 goals, but he's giving them a target up there with his leading. But the perfectly weighted kick was by Schloss, a 60-metre drop punt.
Steve Paxman made his debut for Fitzroy in '91, coming up the middle. Of course, that was under Robert Shaw. Now it'll come back to Lyle here.
It's always an interesting one. A line ball like that, both players pleading with the umpire for the free kick.
Lyle squares it. There's Brown. Again forced to go with his right foot. Finds a teammate up ahead. It's James. James goes for distance down towards the 50. Longmire and Cooley's the master of taking the one-hander. Very good. I'm sure after years of experience, he likes the jostle. He's got that down to a fine art. Kicks inside the 50. Martin reaches over the top. Anderson knocks it goalward. The hand pass came out. Stevens. Harvey got it across to support.
Good call.
Kingsley kicks and gets a goal, a belated one. Rock was buried.
But a very good call there from umpire Coates. Rock moving forward, checked himself then to just step out. We'll see it here as he receives the ball here, goes for a bit of a forward on, just checks himself to come back. That was his prior opportunity to dispose of the ball, wrapped up in the tackle. Advantage goes with Port Adelaide, and Kingsley kicks his first goal in AFL history for himself.
So a badly needed goal to Port. Let's hope they can score another couple of quick ones. Just liven up the game a bit. There's Schwartz. He's surrounded by Port players. Matthew Primus. Funny old kick off the side of the boot. Brewer's been well beaten by Blakey. Socket off the ground to the half-forward line. Number 38 is Roger James. It's still in play. Brewer, David Brown. Eventually it comes off someone's boot. And it is a throw-in, not out in the full.
Hasn't been a good day for Shane Brewer. Very quiet. Last week, when Scott Cummings left the ground, he went to full forward and gave a bit of a focal for Port Adelaide, but just 5 disposals, 1 kick and 4 handballs is Shane Brewer at this stage of the match.
So there's James again. Oh, he gets in a hand pass, but Pike, geez, loving it out there. Martin Pike, the centre wing. Oh, McKernan did that beautifully to Chandler, who's right again after that corky. In towards half-forward, thumped away by Paxman. Back it comes to Wanganeen. They love to boo him. Paxman to Wilson. Wilson onto his left and drives it to half-forward. Oh, big fly was by Anderson. Poole breaks the tackle. He is very, very strong. Eagleton on the left foot. He's forced wide and out on the full, I would think. Or was it touch? No, it's out in the full.
Poole certainly is something to build a forward line around. He's strong, he works hard on the one-on-one contest and quite prepared to encourage and feed his runners.
Out of bounds at left half forward for Port. The last goal they got ended quite a drought. Their previous goal at the 5-minute mark of the second term. In the interim, North had kicked 6. Kangaroos by 51 points, and the free kick is going Port's way. It will be taken by Brewer. He's about 65 metres from goal. Goes long down towards Poole. In front, looking for a free. In close attendance, Longmire. And across the boundary it goes. Down goes Poole. And I think the thing to watch there in the build-up may have been his left hand. Longmire not happy with that. Not often you see Big John respond so quickly. There with Poole. Good to spot it. Off the ground, Eagleton is missed.
Been a good comeback from John Longmire, missing a full season with the knee injury last year and missing the premiership win, finding himself at centre half back, and a position he's probably best suited to at this stage, coming back from the knee injury, where he's able to run straight onto the ball, control it, and today his judgment and marking in the air has been very, very good.
Give him a lot of confidence too in that knee. And that's a nice mark. Taken for Port Adelaide by Stephen Carter. And Carter's way out at half forward. Lockwood's gone back, but there's plenty of North players here congregating. Brewer waits at the back. Haven't got anyone nippy enough to sneak in there and grab it. And that's where they could do with a guy like Brent Heaver, former Carlton and Melbourne Rover, because he's a real little goal sneak and they haven't got him. The other bloke they're missing is Fabian Francis. And of course, Scott Cummings, we know he's their key forward to kick goals.
So this bounce about 20 metres out. Poole trying to work his way around Longmire, but Longmire too bulky, knocked it down. Anderson, cleverly done, although the kick wasn't particularly good. Bond to Dickey from about 48 metres out. Down towards the goal square. Pike in best position. Got his hands to it. Martin the crumbs gave it away to Wilson. And Wilson snaps and kicks a goal.
Well, originally in that contest in the 10-yard square there, it was all North Melbourne. The numbers were some 4-1. But what they didn't make most of was being able to distribute the ball away from that. Just see all the numbers there. 3 there. Martin's the next one in. but just the quick blind handball where, in actual fact, a quick kick would have been a far, far better option there from Mickey Munn. Clear the area with the kick out.
Well, an opportunist goal, that one, to Michael Wilson, as Mickey Martin tried to shuffle it out, and it went straight to Wilson. But they're still a long way behind on the scoreboard. 13-8 plays 6-6.
I don't think John Carl would now be chasing a win per se, Peter. I mean, he'd love one, I'm sure. But what he needs to do now is to be working with his young players, getting them more attuned to the Melbourne style of football, how tough and hard it is in close. They can get a lot out of this game here today, Port Adelaide.
So Josh Franco was... But when they tackle North Melbourne, Terry, they really do tackle in numbers, don't they?
Yeah, well, we're talking about the premiership side, and they've been right up there now for the last 5 years under Denis Pagan's coaching. They are a yardstick, and so this will be a very good experience for these boys to take home back to Adelaide.
Franco ran into about 4 North Melbourne players in now. Here's Braden Lyle, Stevens.
And the other thing we can see, Peter, is just the stature of the players. North Melbourne, you know, all the players would have been in the heavy weights for the last 5 or 6 years, whereas a lot of these Port Adelaide players coming out of the SANFL perhaps haven't given it as much as they need to do for this level football.
Here's Swass receiving from Rock. Half forward lines where they've been falling down, Port Adelaide. Stevens again, driving it back on his right, but oh, bounces, oh, just missed. It rolls through for a behind. There's Anthony Stevens, who's having a terrific game again. He certainly knows how to pick up possession. He's had 17 kicks and 5 handballs.
Short one comes in. Eggleton takes the mark. Got it from Paxman. Stevens averaging 22 possessions a game. That's slightly up on last season. His average will be helped this afternoon. Clears the pack on the outer side. Opportunity behind for Bond. He likes a goal. Bond from 45 out. Likes the kick. The power not done with yet.
No, they've picked up the last 3 goals. North Melbourne kicked the first 3 of this particular quarter, and really should have been going on with it. But then Port have really worked hard and have come back to kicking the last 3. Bond as a goal scorer. Really shows potential as a half-forward flanker and a finisher off or a play up the field. Showed on that occasion, but I've been most impressed with his ability to work hard inside the contest throughout this season. Distributes the ball very well by hand, very sharp handball, and shows a great kick then.
Well, I actually think he's one of the most improved players in the competition. Well, there's Anderson having the ball smothered, and the umpire will bounce this, but Shane Bond has had 13 kicks, has taken 7 marks, and has had 9 handballs in a losing side, and he has been very, very good. And he is a beautiful kick. So bounce again. Wilson, that could have been holding the man on Bond. He did make sure the umpire saw it. Chandler drives it out. Now let's see what Wanganeen can do. Taps. Oh, he is clever. That was brilliantly done by the captain in towards half forward. Oh, a great attempt, but it's taken by Brown. It was Brewer who tried to take the mark. Oh, that's another goal to Port. That is very good football. They've lifted Port here, and brilliant play by Wanganeen.
Very much so, and you blow me down with a feather, because I was saying that they weren't chasing a win, and all of a sudden these boys are showing the spirit that the Port Adelaide Football Club have become famous for. They're right in there working hard. Great piece of roving there from Brown. Brewer provided the contest, but Brown's right in there, not out wide, in where it's really hot.
Still very much a tall order, but they're working hard as we go down to Matty Campbell.
Yes, they're working hard, all right, Dennis. And the Port Power crowd, although a few of them are working hard, they're really making a lot of noise trying to get their side back into it.
Towards half forward, Archer spilt the mark. It was a hard one. Kingsley, Archer back into the fray. Dickey, now Roberts somehow got out of there from 55 metres out towards full forward goes the kick. Paxman knocks it down. Archer the crumbs, kicks on goal. Good effort. Great finish. And maybe there you can hear the air going out of the balloon.
Yep, that was, you know, Port really pushing hard. It'd be a great test, this next centre bounce for Port Adelaide, the way in which they regroup. They've worked so hard, and then North Melbourne, up they go. Archer coming onto the ball, finding the left foot and sliding it through.
The crowd yelling now for North. Just under 6 minutes left in this third term. Primus, he went without it. Big hand pass. Oh, good play by King. The half forward, no mark. Harvey's very quick. Oh, we're after him though. Archer, Schwass. Schwass knocks it on. Archer again. He's caught. That could be holding it. Yes. He tried to beat the man and he was caught red hot. And umpire Sam Croner paid it. Braden Lyle will take it at half back. Well, almost in the back pocket, in fact. Oh, poor kick. Allows Mark Roberts to give it to Schwass. Schwass is caught. Oh. Here's Anderson. Oh, he runs into a brick wall. James gets it to Mead. Enormous pressure out there. Mark Roberts has got it on the left foot. Down the half forward, and the mark has been taken by Craig Scholl about 30 metres from goal on a 45-degree angle.
There's some good solid work in there from both sides, and at the end of that little arm wrestle there, North Melbourne prevailed with a quick kick on out by Roberts. Good position, just giving the kick some height, allowing someone to get themselves into the marking position. On this occasion it was Scholl.
Well, he's already kicked 3 goals. A chance here to extend the margin. Scholl from 30. It looks good. He's happy. It's a goal. 4 goals to this creative half forward, and Wayne Carey looks very happy about that one.
Yeah, a few smiles in the coach's box there just at the moment, and yeah, Denis Pagan, he really would have worked hard during this week. He had to get his side back up after a loss last week against Collingwood. They were really staring down the barrel of their season, and he's got them up very well for today's game.
(59, 8-6). I think the lead up to that last goal, watching the tape, there's a lesson there. Anderson running in a straight line at the ball, and the man coming in the opposite direction did not. And it really compounded all their problems. And now Primus is penalised for holding it. McKernan. Free kicks rare this afternoon for North Melbourne. The kick goes inside the 50. Shoulder leaper, knocked down in front. Schwass, strong tackle by Lyle. Stevens almost falling, throws it on the left boot. Wanganeen. Well, he is uncanny. He was running back, there was pressure there, and almost marked the ball.
He's quite fearless, isn't he? The way in which he throws his body into the fray, at the ball all the time, looking to win the possession and set his side up.
One of the all-time greats. There's Paxman coming away. Hand passes forward. Kingsley takes on Anderson. Did it nicely to Brown. So often been sent on his right foot today. Again there. Goes to Franco. Franco running towards half forward over the top inside the 50. Bond. Can he finish this one off? Sharp angle. Kicks and kicks truly. How's that for class? Twice.
Well, I'd be capturing that piece of play from one end of the ground to the other if I was a Port Adelaide coach, and really showing the group of boys how well they can actually play. They're just sharp though, all running hard, finding some space. I'm not always convinced about the warrant of a forward handball. Perhaps a kick's better, but eventually a good slick exchange of ball down to Shane Bond, and for the second time he goals.
2 goals to Shane Bond. McKernan won that one. Taken by Lade to the half-forward line. Oh, quick kick was by Franco, down toward further afield. Back comes to Franco. On to Eagleton, who drives a goal. Oh, hit the post. Bad luck for the young fella, because another one then really would have lifted them. And, well, you've got to admire them in Port Adelaide. Their first year in the AFL competition, Terry. And there's their coach, one of the great players all time in Adelaide, and they're going to be a power in future years.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. They've got a good crop of young players out of their local zone and also from the national draft. But just at this stage, I mean, North wouldn't be all that happy. Denis Pagan, there just seems to be a real lapse in concentration from North at the moment.
Not fair, though, from Archer. Hard at that one to Longmire, coming away from half-back. Chips it up towards midfield and Stevens. A lot like the Fremantle Dockers, Port Power. They just keep on working. They're almost oblivious to the scoreboard, and that's admirable. There goes the kick from McKernan, well inside the 50. Off hands, Harvey waits in front, throws it on the boot. Wanganeen will need to go. Rock did well and couldn't control it. Paxman got it away nicely. Carter in the grasp. It was too tall for Kingsley. Sliding in Wilson, spins out of trouble. Well done. Great poise across the ground. This could be a goal. Eagleton's got it. Brown's on the wing. He can take it and go. There's a man on further afield. That's Dickey. Poole needs to drop back. He stayed a little too close to Dickey. As a result, Brown is forced to kick down towards the pocket. Martin missed it. Coming up to gather the ball, King. King hurriedly back towards half-back and Pike. That was clever. Freeborn back to the wing. The moment lost, at least for the moment. Storming through Wanganeen. Stevens, brilliantly done. Releases Harvey. Harvey runs towards half-forward. Great chase from Wanganeen. Going back McKernan. Well,
just that breakdown there, that last piece of play. I mean, sensational setup there from Port Adelaide. The switch from Wilson, releasing players down this broadcast side. But just that final skill error, and North Melbourne able to turn it around and set McKernan up.
Corey McKernan then has got one. He's missed to the near side. It was interesting, that run by Brown, because Dickey was on in the middle and obviously had hand passed it over there. The only problem was Poole. I think Brown had something to think about because he thought Poole's man was going to peel off. He didn't need that in his mind because Poole, all he had to do was drop back, and then you had the option of the hand pass or the kick to Poole.
I think he still should have come back inside a little bit earlier, and then he hung on to it too long, David Brown. I think he might have been trying to draw the man. Anyway, they mucked it up, and down it went down the other end. So it's Lade hasn't been dominant. He's had an outstanding season. Hasn't been dominant today. And again, he's asked to play a number of positions. Brown, Lockwood, punched away by Mickey Martin. Lyle goes to Brown. So it's a great tackle on Chandler, and that was from Brewer. And again, the umpire being very sensible and allowing the player making the play, giving him a bit of a leeway and latitude.
Actually, it's a good game for a 40-point margin, isn't it?
Yeah, terrific game to watch. As we see Wilson with a quick hand pass. Here's Brewer, very slippery customer. Franco, he's caught. Eagleton holding the ball. I think the umpire might have paid back here at half-back. Or is it a free kick to Port?
Yeah, no, just stepping too far through the contest.
Yep. Umpire, coach deliberating. I played football when his dad was one of the great umpires of the VFL, then Ian Coates.
Ball up towards the wing. Here's Archer. He's been lively in this term. Taken across the line. What a fine player. Glenn Archer knows no other way but right at it. 100% for 4 quarters. Thrown in the attacking side of left centre wing for the Power. Pike, very clever and close. Stevens towards half forward. McKernan bumped. Early on the siren, as it turns out. There wasn't going to be a free kick. Mead finishes up with the ball. North Melbourne finish up with the lead, but that was a spirited term. The margin is 40 points. It was 36 at half-time, so Port not making any concessions, and I'm sure when they went in at half-time they could have been thinking about being embarrassed here. A word from umpire Cronje for Darryl Poole. John Cale coming across the ground, and I'm sure he'd be buoyed by that performance by Port, but of course they've got to play out the 4 quarters. North Melbourne have met every challenge so far. A couple of times Port threatened, got a run on, a couple of goals together, and always the way North Melbourne got the next one. 3/4 time, North Melbourne 15-11, rolling over Port 9-7.
The
Developed a range of mobile phone packages called Optus Freestyle. Okay, footy fans, it's time for the announcement of the winner of the Coca-Cola AFL signed Sharon. Okay, everybody, take your Coca-Cola squeeze bottle, hold them above your head. Come on, everybody. Yes, you too. Don't look around. That's it. Come on, hold it up. High enough. Come on. Can you see the lucky number? Come on. Put those squeeze bottles high in the air. That's better. Now, the lucky number is B08741. B08741. Congratulations. You can collect your Tommy Sharon from the Social Club reception.
Three-quarter time, North Melbourne out by 40 points. They've led at every change, 23-36. And now that 40-point margin. Craig Scholl, 2 goals in that term, 4 for the afternoon. Kirzners, operating out of a forward pocket, has got 3. He picked up 1 in that quarter. And Shane Bond, 2 very nice goals for Port Power in the 3rd term here at Optus Oval. John Cale, spring in his step. Well, momentarily headed off the ground. His side is down. One other game being played this afternoon at the MCG between Melbourne and Geelong. Now, some stations taking a replay as a result of that. If you don't want to know the score, look away now. Okay, Mr. Port Adelaide, what chance from here?
Thanks, Dennis. Well, John Kay was very, very vocal at three-quarter time, really trying to gee his players up. He obviously feels they still have a chance to win this game. And, well, I don't think they can, but I'm certain they'll give another surge in this last quarter. At the North Melbourne camp, spoke to the players for a very long time, and including John Blakey. And the Blanket Blanky has done a fantastic job on Brewer, as has Peter Bell on Braden Lyle.
The Blanket Blakey, okay. Set for the start of the final quarter then. And Port tried hard in that last term. Had their moments too. North Melbourne very professional. Hard-working team. And some lessons here for Port. Again, the sun is shining. 4th term. Ball falls at the ruckman's feet, taken away by Bell. He kicks it inside the 50. Off hands, Wanganeen, who's been terrific this afternoon. His 22nd possession out to Brown, who was very lively in the 3rd quarter. And Brown around the outer side. A couple of bounces, runs to the wing, kicks down towards half forward. Lockwood's in front. Knocked away by Martin. Bond across to Lockwood. He floats it inside the 50. And King, who's been very good back there. And up the ground as well, a couple of very good passes resulting in goals. If it were basketball, it would have been assists. Longmire takes the hand pass through midfield. Clever. How about the class there? Schwass beating Wanganeen. The measure of the mark was the man he beat. Wayne Schwass kicks inside the 50. Beautiful finish. Craig Scholl's got it directly in front.
Yeah, you really have to applaud that mark from Wayne Schwass. The ball was tossed up. It was a genuine one-on-one contest. He muscled to the front position and held it, and then just the poise to be able to finish it off with a very well floated kick into Scholl on the lead.
Craig Scholl directly in front then from outside the 50. Distance won't be a problem. Neither direction. It's a goal. His fifth.
So 5 goals to Scholl. Kirzners with 3. And then Allison with a couple early in the game. And this is a good shot here, this particular piece we're watching now, of just the variation that exists within the North Melbourne forward line. That Kirzners was the initial option, was ignored, dropped back, and Scholl then was the one coming forward.
I noticed Stephen Paxman gave his couple of his teammates a bit of a burst for not filling up that space. There's Stevens with a wobbly kick down to the half-forward line. Kirzners gets it further field. This is Roberts receiving from Archer. He bombs away a goal, and he has missed. Normally a pretty good kick for goal on the run too, Mark Roberts. North a very powerful side when they have those midfielders running for them. Nice mark taken by Adam Kingsley after that kick in. To centre wing. King versus Lyle. Lyle one out. This is James. To half forward. That's a hamstring stretcher to Lockwood. Now the lead is on. This is Brewer. And couldn't hang on to it. Blakey up. He really should have marked that one. Blakey kicks to centre wing. Freeborn's after it. And Dickey doesn't look 100% fit, and the ball beats both of them over the line. But Brewer has not had a good day, and that's due to the close checking of John Blakey, one of the best stoppers in the competition. There he is, one of the many Fitzroy players playing out in that ground. Here's Wilson to Brown, to half forward and Dickey. Oh, it's knocked further field to Bell, Chandler, and eventually be driven down the forward line by David King.
At the head of Stevens, and Wanganeen takes it across the line. Marvellous kick by Lockwood going in there after he received a good pass, but Shane Brewer, not his best afternoon. Fumbled the mark. And he marked it, of course, within goal-scoring range. Tossed in. Dickey, the big leap from behind. Wanganeen with some time. Squares the ball. Kingsley. James is running for him. Will he use James now? No, he's had a bounce. He runs up towards midfield. Gets the hand pass away. Across it comes from Franco to Lyle then. They'll contest about 20 metres out. Big leap over the top from Chandler. Left standing Bond gets his third.
Proven to be very dangerous, Shane Bond in the goal now. But really looking to be able to get more experience out of this occasion for Port Adelaide where we can. And I wouldn't mind having a look at Lade come on and do the ruck work against Corey McKernan. Primus has done a solid job. McKernan has had not that much influence on the game, so I think that would be a good one to pick up because we are seeing Bond as a very elusive forward.
Shane Brewer has been taken off the ground. Brendan Lade is his replacement. Shane Bond has kicked 3. Now, Matt Primus. Funny old attempt at a handball. It ends up with Mark Roberts. But big banana kick. Oh, McKernan almost took that. Here's Archer. Smothered brilliantly off the boot. That was by Kingsley. Archer again. Oh, danger here because Kirzners can fly at the back. Still going in after Julian Kirzners. Good play by Adam Huskus. Oh, well great done. Play by the ex-Swan. And he finds Donald Dickey, who looks to be playing on one leg at the moment. Over to Wilson. Cleverly done by Wilson. Onto the left and driving it down to half forward where King floats across the front and takes a lovely mark.
Don't you dare describe his other leg as Dickey. The ball comes back towards the wing and Schwarz has got it. Over the top. Awkward one. Longmire hit the ground hard. This is Roberts running down towards half forward. Settles. Beautiful finish. McKernan's got it and Longmire slow to get up. That really was a hard fall flat on his back. Watch it again.
Well, he has eyes for the ball. And there it is. And really it's just the way he comes down. Right on the coccyx on the small of the back. And mark my words, that jar does really hurt.
Meantime, Corey McKernan at his second. Gun barrel strike.
Johnny feeling the pain of that fall, the way in which he came down, but he'd be quite happy with his day's work today, Longmire. He's worked across half-back and centre-half-back. Here it is here, the contact, and just takes his legs out from underneath him. But been a very good day for Johnny Longmire.
They're the sort of things when you're 40 and maybe even 50, you wake up and you can still feel the after effect of that, Pete, can't you?
I'll tell you,
that's true. I mean,
certainly many times, but I'll tell you what, lucky it wasn't 5 minutes back this way. He would have been in that centre cricket pitch area. Would have hurt a lot more. Here's Franco, who almost tripped onto the left. It didn't happen to me too often. Denis was never up that high to come down so heavily. There's Stevens. Back to Blakey. He's got terrific concentration, Blakey. Wilson, Lyle. This is better. Eagleton now, he's got to play on quickly. No, there's no one back in the square, so he's forced to just go wide and try and look at this. It might bounce through, but he looked up the ground. There was no one between 40 metres from goal and the goal line. How can you score a goal?
And I was watching at the other end. I was watching Martin Pike, and the amount of ground that he covered, not directly back to goal, but trying to cover a man, pushing here, pushing there. Pike's running, unseen running from the television perspective, has been very, very good today.
King got it to Martin King, 18 possessions. He's been very good across half-back. McKernan had it knocked away by Primus. Down in front, Carter tied up immediately, and a bounce on the wing. 114 to 68. Port kept working. They've not given this one away. And that's terrific because they can learn some lessons here this afternoon. Not patronising them, but some teams would take their foot off the pedal. Port haven't done that. Chance of another goal here. Lockwood towards the pocket, dragged down. Good chase. Pike affecting the kick. Off hands, out of bounds.
It's early days. If we're going to declare a BOG, for mine it's been Pike. I think early in the game when it had to be set up, he was the man. And here it is. So late in the game, North Melbourne lead by 46, and he's still running. He's still chasing opposition down, putting pressure on them.
And diving. A name like his, you'd expect that. Schwarz, Martin towards the boundary. It's out again.
Well, the last time it came down, Mickey Martin went bang with a big fist over the line. That time he shuffles it over. Remember his dad playing many years ago as a big, brawny ruckman. They called him Skinny Martin, mainly because he wasn't skinny. Laid. And there he is, Mickey. Franco went without it. And he's still in front of the Port goal. There's Mick trying to crash his way through. He's ungainly, but he's pretty effective. Here's Brown with a kick that's smothered off the boot. Poole did some heavy work there. Grabbed by Lockwood. The bounce doesn't favour him and it just wobbles through for a behind. And there he is, only a young player out of the under-18 competition, Bowen Lockwood.
Exciting youngster, isn't he? King again. The designated kicker. Whoa. Roberts has it. To King. So often the ploy, kick it in and run up the ground. He's the hardest man to mark in that situation sometimes. Schwarz feeds it back inside. That's their game plan. Roberts storming down the ground. Now this could result in the goal. He'll kick from right on the 50. No, it's smothered. He took too long. Well done by James, who didn't give up. Got across there and smothered that one off the boot. A collision on the outer side. McKernan falling to the ground. Took one high as he was going down too. Bell tackled out there by James, and a whistle. Now McKernan seems to be okay. He copped a swinging free arm, as they'd say in rugby league, as he punched the ball out.
He copped a couple there, I think, Corey.
Anyway, bounce on the outer side, close to the boundary line. Primus and McKernan, they jostle. Picked up by Rock. Did he keep it in? Apparently so. Archer, unkind bounce for him. Roberts, can he make amends here? Pushed off his kick. I think he's gone close, but not good enough for behind.
Dennis, those last two runs of Roberts has really depicted one of the dilemmas that coaches have in coaching their sides. Do you ask your defender to run at the player, or do you hold your targets? On both occasions, Port Adelaide have held their targets, and the pressure has eventually come from someone up around the ball carrier.
It's Kingsley giving it to Paxman, then receives it back. And here's Primus getting the hoops because he downed McKernan before. At least it takes the pressure off Wanganeen. Eagleton couldn't mark. Still in. No, a little bit of a Houdini trick there. Eagleton trying to say it was out in the full. And there he is. He's a real pro across half back. Number 34 for North, David King. Now look at this in replay. No mark. Oh, we just missed that little Houdini trick. Now there's Lade. Bring it down towards half forward. Bond has been terrific. He and Wanganeen been great. Oh, he's run into a brick wall. He's still got it. He might get pinged here. No, he was caught too high, said the umpire. And Shane Bond, he doesn't look as though anything had phased him, this young bloke. In towards Lade. Taken away by Anthony Rock, or it could be a big fly here. I couldn't quite hang on to it. Oh, it's almost thrown away. A bit of a scoop up.
That was a one-handed
by Chandler.
punch,
It looked like it, didn't it?
Very close.
So let's have a look. He scooped it up, and yeah, that should have been paid a throw, that one. But the umpires overall today have been fantastic. There's Wilson getting it to Brown. I am trying to get, yes, Dennis, to that umpire's ball. Eagleton. Way out at half forward. But the game has flowed. It's been a good game to watch. Oh, Lockwood was free kick to Lockwood. He was grabbed right around the neck, Bowen Lockwood. He's only 20 metres out and should score a goal. And the crowd don't like it, but it was an obvious one.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the young fella's working very, very hard at it. Here it is, being able to push back into the contest. It's a very good way to be. And a little bit there. Now,
it looks like Poole's got, gee, Lockwood was
the ball.
dragged around the neck. Must be another free off the ball, but it's Poole from directly in front, and he has kicked the goal. Well, he's kicked two, Darryl Poole. It looked like a certain free kick to Lockwood. 17-13 plays 11-9. Let's see what happened to Poole.
Well, there's no doubt here. Lockwood,
not in it.
Poole, he's there for the ball.
Held by the jumper. Could have been, hardly at all, but it would have been a free kick to Lockwood anyway.
These are your umpires. That's two now. 10 seconds. 17-13, 11-9. You would think in that situation you'd pay the man up. More obvious
so,
one, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Cool on the ground. They tugged his jumper, but not a lot to it. Huskus out of defence, back towards midfield. Rock is there, controls it brilliantly, found it on the deck. The kick not so good though. Kingsley, the clever mark, plays on immediately. Port not to be denied. 2-on-1 situation here. Something good should happen. Well, he's held a long time as Lockwood. Very well played by King. Hung on just long enough. There goes the kick. Longmire up in front, and it's going to be a free kick to Longmire over the shoulder.
Pushed in the back.
Johnny Longmire will be side up 17-13 to 11-9. Clear the zone. High kick back towards the wing. McKernan's the target. Primus over the top. Wanganeen waiting behind. Roberts dragged off the kick. McKernan missed it. Wanganeen dives in. Picked up by Roberts though. A floater. Archer. Oh, what a terrific mark. What a beauty.
It's the best mark today by a mile.
How he got back to take it. He
Straight
slipped his man. Yeah, just terrific. Glenn Archer on the wing. In towards centre half forward. Millington was up, fisted away by Paxman, taken by Freeborn. Nobody at home. It runs down, bouncing towards full forward. It's wide of the mark though. Bell tries to keep it alive, and Lyle takes it across the line.
Well, here he is, just the way he comes back here, eyes on the ball, no fear about what's going to come over the top there from Carter, and reaches up, takes a great one.
Well, that's why he's such a class player. Kingsley getting it to Braden Lyle. Here's the pro out there, John Blakey. Every week he goes out on a top player of the opposition, and that's his opponent, Shane Brewer, and Poole is on the bench also, but there's Shane Brewer in the middle, who Blakey took right out of the game. Donald Dickey doing the ruck work, taken by Wilson, who's a very good young player also. On to Dickey. Donald Dickey across the ground. Chance for Port here.
Oh.
So it's an ordinary hand pass to Huskis. Huskis brings it into the half-forward line with a wobbly old kick. It was given across to him by Kingsley, and eventually it's forced over the line.
They're sticking at it. 116 to 75, so the margin 41 points. It's 40 at three-quarter time, 36 at half-time. Thrown in. Lockwood did very well against the more developed body there. Eagleton liked his game, and Lade reaches over the top to claim the mark. He's only about 15 metres out on a 45-degree angle. There's a lot to like about Port Adelaide.
There's no doubt about that. Some of the young players they've got coming. Brendan Lade, this young bloke, certainly one of the future.
I think it's behind. We'll wait and see. There's a pause down there. No, it's a goal. Sneaking it in, Brendan Lade.
It's good work from Lade. I mentioned earlier I would have liked to have seen him get a run on the ball on McKernan. I think that would have been a great experience for him. But Primus has had that task right throughout the day, and both Primus and McKernan have served their sides very, very well. But he's just being able to judge it there. Some good reach over the top of Longnaya, and completed a very good kick for his first goal.
Well, they're not lying down, Port Adelaide. They're having a go at North still. Primus, well, they all miss it. Wanganeen goes in on Harvey. Is that number 11 in there trying to crash through Glenn Archer? Yes, it is. Ryan Sheehan, the umpire, to bounce it. Primus to take on Mark Roberts. They're obviously giving, they've got McKernan down the forward line, having a little bit of a breather because he's worked very, very hard. This will be another bounce as Primus ruefully looks at the umpire. Brian Sheehan will bounce it again. So Primus knocks it on towards Donald Dickey. 38 is Roger James. He did that very well on the left boot. Can they get another one? Ladies up there. It hits the deck. Brown. Oh, here's a goal coming up. Oh, Wilson's dropped it. Oh, he slipped over. Oh, no. Oh, a certain goal has been lost. When he was on his own, he slipped over when it was a gimme.
Well, perhaps a moral victory there to Port Adelaide. They got themselves in a position where the lay-down was there for a goal, but Wilson slips at the crucial stage.
Mickey Martin will try and take it through. Schwass went without it. Martin Pike drives it back to Stuart Anderson. Anderson trying to disguise a clever little tap to the line.
Well,
Has he been
well enough, no.
I thought he was trying to disguise it, but the umpire was one step ahead. This is Burgoyne back on the ground, chipping it in. Or dangerous. Free kick to Bond. No, I don't know. He's got to come back.
And he's got to kick the goal here.
I'm sure he wanted it to go over. I thought he disguised it a bit tough. But the umpire, having none of that, here's the angle. And poor kick straight to Stevens.
It was just a lack of confidence there from Peter Burgoyne. He didn't want to kick the first one, then it came back, and he didn't want to have another kick.
So Stevens to half back. Glenn Archer, who took that great mark a moment ago. off the side slightly and helped on its way by Craig Scholl, who's been terrific on the forward line. Terry with 5.
Yes, and Burgoyne coming off there, perhaps as a result of that. I think the boy just should have had more confidence in his own ability to kick a goal there, either using the straight drop punt or the check side for the South Australians, but there was a goal there that wanted to have a go at there from Burgoyne.
There's James again. Has he been pinned? He has, for holding the ball.
They've worked well, Port Adelaide. I mean, after half-time, North came out and kicked the first 3 goals of that quarter, but since then, Port have kicked 8 goals to North's 4.
There's McKernan flying at half-forward. Over the top is Dickey. 36 is Carter. Wilson, who missed a gimme goal a moment ago, on to Huskus. Let's see what they can do now. Porter's goes up towards Lade. Bond, can he get his 4th? Yes! Oh, brilliant play by Shane Bond. 4 goals to this talented player. And Terry, he has been terrific. 17 kicks, 10 handballs, 8 marks.
He has been. He's been one of the good players for Port Adelaide, probably he has been their best player for Port Adelaide right throughout. The way, look, this is very impressive from Port Adelaide, the way they've stuck at it. Now it's 9 goals to 4 after that early avalanche in the 3rd quarter from North Melbourne. They've been great sticking at it.
Shane Bond started in defence, went to the forward line at half-time, has been at 4 goals since. Terrific performance. Played as a forward in the West Coast Eagles Premiership side of 94, of course. Tackle down there was Blakey, boots it out wide. Freeborn leads in the race. It runs across, so 4.5 minutes to go. 17-14, 13-9.
There's no chuckling there just at the moment, is there?
No.
It's a little bit of a concern.
Not enough time for Port to get back.
No.
It just kept coming. Primus, hurriedly. Very high goes the kick. Blakey in front of Brewer. It must have been touched off the boot because Blakey was keen to go. And the ball spills across the boundary line. David Brown in the foreground, young Burgoyne. McKernan, look at that for strength, just propped there, made it very difficult for Primus, and they go on with it behind play. Meantime, Anderson, was that in the back? Not according to the umpire. Rombotis over the top. Well done there by James. Got it to Wilson. Wilson slickly away to Kingsley. Kingsley kicks inside the 50. Lades marked it. Well, this scoreboard at the end of the day is going to look very respectable. And yet, really, since midway through the second term, they haven't been a realistic chance to win the game.
No, the scoreboard's going to look respectable, and so is any real subjective assessment of the performance of Port Adelaide here. They've stuck right to the task when they're looking down the barrel.
Wade going at his 2nd of the afternoon, 2nd of the quarter. Straight through the middle.
Well, North Melbourne were approaching a 10-goal lead early in the 3rd quarter and really should have gone on with it. What happens? Does the side lapse in concentration when they're that far in front and not go on to it? Well, I think that's a dangerous policy if that's been the case here from North Melbourne, because coming into the game, they only had 3 wins out of their 7 games, and they were really looking to develop some confidence. But Port Adelaide have not allowed them to do that and have stayed right at the task.
Well, there's 3.5 minutes left. Let's see if Port can get another one. Swash receives that tap out from McKernan. Well, Harvey showed some courage. Taken by Anthony Stevens to the half-forward line. Mellington's back on the ground. Scholl for goal number 6. And here's a beautiful kick for goal. Craig Scholl, the opportunist full forward, come forward pocket, come everything, has kicked 6.
Well, they needed it, but I've been very disappointed with North Melbourne here today. They set themselves up with a chance to really nail this game, and they haven't done that. Conversely, I'm very impressed with Port Adelaide, the way they stood in the face of that 6-goal deficit and worked their way back to some 23 points in arrears before that goal from Scholl.
That's the goal they needed. That's been the story of the afternoon, really. Whenever they have needed one, they've responded. Back in the congestion, Wilson tries to slap it out. Stevens had it, then lost it. Kingsley tries to help the ball on its way. Working in there as well is Lyle. And we'll have a bounce. Anderson comes up with it. Inside the last 2 minutes, there's Johnny Longmire. Reason to feel sore. I think it may be his wrist, his back. And this will be a tough night tonight, trying to get a good night's sleep. Here's Wilson. Feeds it back to Wanganeen. Wanganeen from 45. Sprays it to the right.
Get some good build-ups. They've had some terrific build-ups down to the forward line. There's Johnny Longmire, who, yes, he's holding his chest area. Now, let's hope that is not rib injuries, because they are very, very painful. Anthony Stevens driving it to Swass. Swass has got the box seat here. He had his name written all over that. Just over 2 minutes left in this game. The North have been very good, but to Port's credit, they have not thrown in the towel. They've kept going. And create a lot of problems for a lot of sides this year. There's Harvey going to ground at the 50-metre line, and it'll be a throw-in. You think they badly need that brilliance of Fabian Francis around the middle. They need Cummings up at full forward. There's Anthony Rock. A little tough little rover. Been a very good player today. 17 kicks, 7 marks, 3 handballs, Anthony Rock. Scholl. He's a very good player, Scholl. So is this bloke, Wanganeen. Drives it wide. He's hoping Eustace. Oh, that was a good mark. Off they go. Dickey seems to be limping. Dangerous hand pass. This is Rombotis. Back to Eustace. Up to Lade. Oh, the big fella's got it again. No, it's not Lade. I should say it's Primus.
It was a good catch too, wasn't it?
It was a terrific mark. It's Matty Primus. He's not as good a kick for goal as Lade.
And there's some great stuff coming up. Lade running hard, testing McKernan behind this shot.
Matthew Primus for his first goal of the game. Oh, drifts back. He's kicked the goal. I take back what I said about his kicking not being as good as Lade. That was a good kick. And they have just kept coming. Haven't looked like winning, have they,
No.
Terry?
No, they haven't. But individually and then obviously collectively, they've stayed at the task. You know, Huskers giving them some hard run out of the back line, being able to set something up. But I just mentioned, as Primus having that shot, Lade doing the work now on McKernan, which will be a great experience for him. And he was really testing McKernan, then running hard into the forward line. And Corey was starting to blow a bit hard.
One down by Lade. After it goes Stevens, it spills back. King, so good this afternoon. Kicks well inside the 50. A lot of body work down there. Off hands. Kirshner at his 4th. I think he's got it, but only just. The second of the second half.
Well, 4 goals, very good little niche in for Julian Kirzners. King's been great. I've been very, well, you can not be impressed with the game of David King. The way in which he's attacked the ball, aggressive at it. Once he get it, runs straight and kicks straight. And Kirzners then the opportunist being able to be on the end of that one. 4th goal in his 2nd game of league football and his 1st for North Melbourne.
So a 28-point margin. As now it's going the other end. This is just up and down the ground seesawing. That was Wilson. But don't they love it when this man gets the ball. Mickey Martin, he looks a fearsome sight. He's bringing it across the ground to David King. Time running down, 20 seconds to go. Wanganeen brilliantly spoils and then dives on the boot of Stevens. 2 tough little customers there. Here's Mark Roberts, loves a bounce. Frank goes after him. Roberts with a wobbly kick down towards half forward, taken by Kingsley on the Lade, and Lade will bring it out towards centre wing. And the mark has been taken by James as the siren sounds to end that game. Well, it was a terrific game. North were too good, but Port did not throw in the towel at any stage. It was goal for goal in that final quarter, and it was a very enjoyable game to watch.
undoubtedly. Port Adelaide with a 6-goal last quarter. North Melbourne with 4. They did very, very well, and probably the best player on the ground there would have been Martin Pike.
And he's with Matt Campbell right now.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. With me is Martin Pike, and I've got a jumper to present here, Martin. It's the countdown to the grand final. It's 133 days to go to the grand final. To the best on ground, congratulations. It's a jumper for all celebrities and sporting stars, but a terrific performance by yourself. You had a magnificent first half.
Yeah, the first half, the ball seemed to come to me a bit in the back line and ran it out pretty well, and I think the back line played pretty well in that first half, and in that second half, Port come back pretty well, and it's pretty well we stopped their running from the back line.
After last week, needed to win today. Port had to kick a winning score. Craig Scholl up forward, 6 goals.
Yeah, Doc come back pretty well. I think Julian Kirzners in that first game or second game in AFL footy kicked 3 or 4 goals as well. So the forward line, they needed to kick over 15 goals, and we did that today, and that was good.
Coming from Fitzroy to North Melbourne, you're just really enjoying your footy.
Yeah, it makes a big difference if you can just worry about playing football. We know we've got a side good enough to make the finals if we can play good enough football, and that's all it is. Enjoy your football and you get the best out of it.
And you're going to jump it there with 133 on the back. Is that the biggest number you've ever won?
Yeah, just hope in 133 days we'll be playing in it.
Fantastic. Congratulations, Martin. Terrific game. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Matty. Port Adelaide trudging off, and the legacy of Fitzroy is strong. Martin Pike there, their best and fairest last season. We saw Anthony Mellington and John Rombotis just having a handshake. There's the man. They're winning without him. They're buying some time, and that's good from their perspective as well. Martin Pike, of course, we've got a lot of South Australian viewers, one of 8 South Australians on North Melbourne's list. Check that final score again. It's North Melbourne 19-14, Port Adelaide 15-10.
Glasses or contact lenses are cramping your style. You may be able to throw them away forever. See Dr. Mark Weatherly at the Medical Laser Clinic Penworth Eye Centre. Phone 1-800-673-937.
Optus. We know people have different lifestyles.
Finally, North Melbourne by 28 points, led at every change, as we can see, 23 points, 36 at the half, and finally 28 after 40 at three-quarter time, so that lead was eroded. Craig Scholl, 6 goals today, 4 in the second half, very good, 15 for this season. Kirzners on debut for North Melbourne, 4 goals also. Lively on the forward line, big lead. Shane Bond moved to the forward line at half-time, and he booted forward. So Port Adelaide could take a lot from this game, and I guess we've got to say, Terry, funny game, because both coaches would go away scratching their head. I mean, you know who got the 4 points, but who won?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there were positives and negatives for both. Dennis Pagan, yep, got the 4 points, but gee, be a little bit concerned with the way in which his side faded out after half-time. As we look at the second half highlights here, North Melbourne came out and kicked the first 3 goals of the second half and took their lead out to some 57 points in 11 minutes into that third quarter. But from that point on, Port Adelaide weren't to be denied and just kept pegging away at it. They'd come on, they'd get a burst of 3 goals, and just when they were seemingly doing something, just when it was needed, North Melbourne would bob for the goal. Archer was one of those who did that, but not be denied. They kept coming back. Scholl picks up 6 goals for the day, all after quarter time, 2 in each of the last 3 quarters. A good contribution, but one of the significant players I thought was Bond. The way in which he went about his work, 4 goals after half-time, after working the midfield and defence, he really did well. Longmire took a bit of a blow there, but North Melbourne coming on back through here, and I think it's Big McKernan who gets on to the end of it.
Good duel today, McKernan and Primus, and then McKernan and Load, wasn't it?
I thought it was. I thought they balanced each other out, McKernan and Primus. They both contributed in negating the potential of the other. This man was great, wasn't he? Pushing back into that contest, really gave them something. But really, Port Adelaide had take a lot out of the game to come back to the way in which they did. North Melbourne get the 4 points, but still a little bit of soul searching to be done at North.
Well, we talked about North's forward line. Of course, they kicked 19 goals, so something good for them too.
Yep.
It is a mixed bag, as we say. Okay, 28 points was the final margin. North Melbourne home. We'll be back shortly. Port Adelaide, 6 goals in the final term, but not enough. Going down by 28 points, North Melbourne improved their record to 4-4. Now, at the MCG this afternoon, Geelong looking to make it 5 straight wins. Here's some of the action against Melbourne.
Ball jarred free to Stephen Phoebe. Charles didn't get the bounce that he wanted. Farmer with speed off the ground. Can he get there again and put it through? Oh, I think he has. Great start, Melbourne, in the third quarter. Picks out Pyman pretty well with his hand pass up towards Farmer. Really making himself a target up there. Clarkson needs it to bounce. Likewise, Charles. Kilpatrick. Charles keeps it in. Intended for McDonald. Charles again. Snaps! And rolls it through! What a goal!
That big raking left boot thumps the ball back inside 50. Stoneham, the skipper, goes short. Looking for Billy Brownless, does well on the half volley. Back to Stoneham, passes it off. McKinnon kicks a goal.
Geelong and Brownless is quite capable of kicking a bit. Oh, he's gone short.
Houlihan a lead. Couldn't take it. Hargraves, a snap. That's close. It's coming around. It's there. It's his second. Just off the ground. Snap at goal by Mansfield. In fact, it was Hargraves.
Viney got Hocking to beat Riccardi inside 50. This raking left boot. What a kick! To Pickering, so the hard-working midfielders force the ball down towards the half-forward line. Burns, clever play over the top, looking for Stoneham. Couldn't trap it. Hargraves can. Bullocks his way through, takes a bounce, tries to set it up to McKinnon, just needs a good bounce. Back to Hargraves, runs in, bang! Great play, Timmy Hargraves. But he's kept their main forward mainly out of business.
Stoneham to Hargraves for another one.
So Geelong too strong. The same score as was kicked here by North Melbourne, 19-14. Timmy Hargraves got 5 goals. He'd be very happy with that. Farmer and Charles 3 apiece as far as the Demons were concerned, falling away in the second half. Just those 2 goals. 19-14 to 7-7. So Geelong joined Collingwood at the top of the table. They're second by percentage, but Collingwood certainly after their big win last night looking the goods at the present time. Geelong the quiet achievers, both with those 6-2 records. Quite a disparity in percentage, as you can see. West Coast with a chance to go 6-2 on Monday night when they play the Tigers. Plenty of football still to come, of course. Those asterisks down the left-hand side indicate who hasn't played, and so many important games because so much congestion. 5th down to 14th on the table.
The 1997 AFL Premiership season. Proudly brought to you by Victoria Better for a hard-earned thirst. Telstra, making life easier. Qantas, the Australian airline. And McDonald's.
Still to come then tonight, Adelaide and Sydney. Terry is with me, so Terry, go on.
Oh, it's a very important one. At Adelaide at Football Park, really they do stand a lot better chance there than anywhere else in Australia.
Big game for the Swans. And then tomorrow, Fremantle against Brisbane. Brisbane, so many people tipping to win the premiership pre-season. They're struggling.
They're really finding it tough just at the moment, and Freo won't be any pushover to them, but a lot at stake for Brisbane, and I think that should get them across the line.
Essendon disappointing last week in Adelaide up against the Saints. Which St Kilda will turn up?
True, and but not a bad comeback group for Essendon either. Hurd, Long and Harvey, so the Bombers look good there.
Now, Carlton and Hawthorn, I suppose for tipsters, this and the Essendon St Kilda game are the ones I didn't like. Carlton Hawthorn here at Optus tomorrow. Your selection.
Yeah, it is a tough one. Really, that lack of pace and small quicks in the Carlton side, really, that's the Achilles heel still. So Hawthorn really have an opportunity on this one.
Johnny Platten out too.
Yeah, long time since that's occurred.
That's big news. Yep. And then Monday night football, the Tigers against the Eagles under lights at the MCG.
Well, the Tigers back to the wall. The West Coast Eagles really looked good last week. Jakovic back into that side. That's a heck of a strong side, the West Coast Eagles.
The Tigers needing a win, but the club needs one as well, just to pull them back into line, are they?
Very, very much so. You know, the season, well, a couple of clubs can slip away very quickly from here now, Dennis.
Okay, that's it from Optus Oval. And the winners today, Geelong and North Melbourne. North Melbourne winning over Port here by 28 points. Good night.